to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power. Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power. Tell the information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Information is power, ladies and gentlemen.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV. BS3 Network, changing the way you listen to podcasts. BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Download today. BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
What's up, everybody? Peace.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
What's up, everybody? I hope you can hear me. I want to say much peace and respect to everyone in the chat room. I've got something very exciting to show you today. I have a few things that I want to say. And I thank you for coming over. Make sure you share this video in all your social media. It's a very important video. Make sure that you share it in your, you can do it right now with your cell phone. You can look for the share button on this video and you can share it to your Facebook, to your Twitter, wherever you like to share it. If you're a content creator, definitely drop it into your community tab. I would appreciate that wholeheartedly. I want to say a few things before I get started with the full presentation. There are some exciting things happening in California around reparations. However, I can tell you for sure, and you're going to see it on this program today, that the people in California are holding this task force accountable for whatever they're doing and not doing. They're giving them hell, folks, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I want to shout out to C-Jack out there, Brother Chris, and the whole crew here in California who are making this reparations situation a reality. Okay, now I want you to look on this screen right here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the task force members of the California Reparations Task Force. And I got to be honest, I know the task force in Washington, D.C., that whole situation in the federal government has been a nothing burger. They seem to not have come up with any ramifications as to are we getting reparations? Are we not getting reparations? It's a lot of stall tactics going on in the federal government. This particular task force is a lot further along. California is a lot further along in the reality, potential reality, of a reparations bill, which I want to say to everyone, I'm going to make this very clear to everyone. This is a blueprint for the rest of the country. We have a situation in San Francisco where they're looking at giving reparations to black citizens who have lineage, who have lived in San Francisco for a good amount of time. And also they're looking at how Jim Crow, redlining, all the things that have harmed black people, how those are ramifications for giving black people cash payments, giving black people property. Now, there's a lot of people in California right now that have been on top of that task force, that have been a little skeptical of the task force, what they're doing, what they're not doing, and in terms of them marketing and promoting to the whole state of California exactly what they're doing. But you're going to see black people today on this program that held them accountable. Now, what happened, to let you know what's going on, is that this particular weekend, March the 3rd and March the 4th, and I had one of the brothers from C-Jack send out a message to me to attend this conference in Sacramento, California, which is the state capital of California. And I was not able to make it due to family commitments. So I wasn't able to make it, but I had a chance to look in and peek in on what was happening, because they had Friday and then they had Saturday. Okay. And I'm going to give you the final day, which was Saturday today, let you see exactly what people were saying. Very compelling information that was broadcast. Now, look. A lot of people would say, oh, why are you spending time focusing on reparations when there's other important things to say? This is called the Information Man Show, which means I talk about everything. If you don't think that I talk about other issues that go on with how black people are treating each other, you just haven't been watching my program. Now, I had this young lady right here, and I'm not going to be disrespectful, but she goes by the name of the Hebrew woman Expectations. She left a message in the chat room saying people need to speak out on gangster talking and targeted individuals, not reparations. Now, that does not sound, that does sound like, well, this is what it sounds to me. You're telling me, sister, that black people don't have the mental capacity to chew gum, ride a bike, skateboard, and skip rope at the same time. We can do a multi of faceted things. Now, on this channel, I have spoken out about this whole issue around the war of the sexes, black men and black women, and how we both talk very greasy about each other. I've got videos on this channel. So what are you talking about? If you look at my YouTube channel, I have everything categorized. I have the reparations conversation categorized. I have breaking news stories categorized on this channel. I have issues where I've had panels to talk about how we are treating each other as black people. I've got videos where I'm holding people accountable for their effery, like Art Kelly and the things that he was doing when you had black folks on these social media platforms trying to make excuses for him. So on the Information Man Show, we talk about a lot of different things, sister. When you say gangster talking and targeted, yeah, we got a lot of gangster talk, a lot of nonsense talk on YouTube, right? I've addressed those issues. I've talked about those issues in the past, not running away from those issues. But certainly you can't say that this is not an important, maybe it's not an important issue to you because you don't see it as a reality. But for me, living in California, I see it as a reality because I see what the task force is doing, how people are holding them accountable. I'm seeing how people that are on the ground in California pushing this reparations movement ahead. Look, you've got characters on YouTube and social media coming up with all different alphabet names and all of that, all different things like that. What's really going on in California with people that's on the ground in certain organizations? They are making this happen. And this isn't about hiding behind acronym names and stuff like that. This is about real talk. They're talking about bringing back the Freedmen's Bureau. There's a lot of things that black people in California are demanding around this particular issue. And this is a blueprint for the rest of the country. So we can't underestimate the importance of talking about reparations. And and another thing I've talked about, if you look at my channel, sister, I'm talking to you, the beautiful Hebrew woman expectations. Look at my channel. I'm one of a few brothers on the YouTube streets that have done a video talking about how black women that have gone missing in this society are being marked, are not being, no attention is being paid to black people who go missing, black men, black women, but particularly black women. I've covered a gamut. I'm one of a few people on the YouTube streets that have done a video talking about black health as it relates to whether it's more important for black people to have a black doctor versus a white doctor, when statistics shows that we have a higher chance of living under the care of a black professional doctor. Okay, I've touched on all different issues on this channel. So to say and leave a message, my sister, to me, that this is not an important issue to talk about, it is important because what's happening in California is moving forward. We've got a more progressive situation with the reparations movement in California than any state in the union. Who would think of it that California would lead the way in this situation? Who would think? That's the truth.
Tell the truth.
So I'm not here to berate what the sister left for me in the chat room, but to basically give an intelligent rebuttal to her statement. And everybody's entitled to their opinion, but not always their own facts, because you may not know exactly what's happening in California if you don't live here. And you better hope that what we've got happening in California definitely comes to reality. First of all, let me just go here and say this to you and everybody in the chat room. Governor Newsom, the governor of California, our governor, say what you will about him, he passed it into law. So during the early structures of the California Reparations Bill, it was passed into law. And how it was passed into law is because they approved the fact that the California Reparations Bill has to be lineage-based. Okay, it's lineage-based, and you may say, well, what about African people and other black immigrants? The reason why it's lineage-based in California, I'm going to make you all remember this, I told you before, is because in California they have a law that says anytime you give any reparations to anybody, it has to be based on lineage. That's why Native Americans, Japanese, and other groups of people have been able to get money out of California as it relates to their plight. Okay, last time I checked, the Caribbeans, and the brothers and sisters in the continent of Africa, their reparations claim primarily is with Great Britain. And guess what? They're making their claim for land. You got CARICOM. So this whole thing about black people in America, that we're being discriminative towards our own Caribbean and African brothers, is a damn myth, and I laugh at that. Because last time I checked, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, they had a reparations discussion at the United Nations, and all the African countries showed up. Of course, Joe Biden and his administration didn't show up. What a damn shame.
Tell the truth.
But all the African countries showed up, and didn't any of those African countries in Africa, any of those countries say, what about the black people in America? Where's their representation? We need to make sure our brother. No, they were singly focused on what happened to their people. And it's none of my business as a black man in America to tell African people or Caribbean black brothers and sisters how they should go about what is due to them based on what happened to them on the soil that they were born on. That's just a fact.
Tell the truth.
That's just a fact. So what I want to do while we're at this is I want to explain something to folks, something else. I want to go over something here. So we've got the road to reparations in California. Let me read something to you, let you know what's happening right now before I get into the actual video presentation of you seeing what's happening on the ground with people making those demands. Let me just say something before I get started.
Tell the truth.
Right now on YouTube, we've got people going live, black men and black women. We've got panel discussions where people are spending a lot of time talking about the problems between black men and black women. And surely there are some issues that we're going to have to clean up and move forward with as a people. But while people are wasting a lot of time on these YouTube streets, beefing with each other, right, as I had talked about before, beefing with each other, cussing up a storm, and hiding behind avatars, talking about other people's YouTube channels and what other people should be doing on their YouTube channels, which is none of your damn business, by the way. While people are battling each other, black people battling each other, there's some real things going on in the community where people really live and put their foot on ground and deal with real issues that are going to benefit our people. So a lot of this chatter talk on YouTube and social media, which is all based in arguments and beefing with people and this battle of the sexes, it's infertility. It's a waste of time because people on the ground are focusing on real issues that are happening right now where people are doing the groundwork like reparations and many other things. Now, what I want to do, as I said before, is let's talk about the California Reparation. I'm going to give you a little brief summary here. The California Task Force is studying reparations for black California with the enslaved ancestors met in Sacramento, as I had said before, over these last couple of days, over the weekend. Sacramento for a 2-day gathering, bringing it one step closer. I'm going to say it again, bringing them one step closer to finalizing recommendations for the nation's first ever statewide plan for black reparations. Now, Sacramento discussed that there were talks about and what's next. What is next for the California Task Force on reparations? Okay, now, the task force is now about 3/4 away through its work, ladies and gentlemen. During the first year it began, big focus was on documenting the impact of anti-black racism policies in California. They preceded a 500-page report, and it was one of the most comprehensive government documents studying the impact of anti-black police. It's pretty amazing, and it's available on the Department of Justice website, PDF. So go on the Department of Justice website, PDF, and you can look at the Department of Justice as it relates to anti-black policies that will play a role in the decision that they're going to have to make. Now, in the second year of the California reparations, they are digging into what reparations for these harms should really look like. That's the issue. What should it look like? And everyone's got opinions. And they are supposed to produce recommendations in 4 months by July 1st, and quickly approaching deadline, ladies and gentlemen. This is the task force right here that's involved. Now, down in the left corner, Sister Mona, from what I understand, a lot of people are praising her. A lot of people are really rocking with her. There are people, honestly, who have their opinions about the task force, and those that are saying, hey, they're doing a good job. And of course, there are those that are saying, hey, you guys are not promoting it enough and enough. So you're going to see that in the video that I'm going to show you today. The first area of the reparations that they're looking at is the compensation. That's the one y'all looking for. That's the cut the damn check, right? Cut the damn check.
Tell the truth.
The first area of the reparation that they're looking at is compensation that direct payments to people who are the descendants of people who were enslaved in the United States and who now live in California. They don't have an exact number for how many people would be receiving reparations yet, but they still are working on that process. One proposal that they have is to create a new state agency that would be called a Freeman Affair, like the bureaus, like the Freeman's Bureau, ladies and gentlemen.
Tell the truth.
A Freeman Affairs agency that would, among other things, handle doling out these payments. Only thing I'm concerned about this is I don't like bureaucracy. And I think that's a big issue, that we don't want to create more bureaucracy. Now, this is Shirley Weber. She is, I believe she's Secretary of State of California. She is a big part of why this reparations, California reparations, is moving in the direction that it's moving in right now. Let's give her a clap. And this is an example of some of the task force members. The other form of reparations that they're primarily looking at are ways to stop harm moving forward, and the way they're hoping to do this is by changing state policies. The laws that are on the books should already be enforced. That's what they need to be doing. Enforce what's already on the damn books. They have dozens of policy recommendations on the table right now. One is the repeal amendment of Proposition 209, a California law that prohibited policies that benefit or discriminate against specific racial groups. It was originally passed in 1996 and was ratified by voters in 2020. Task force members Dono Tanaka led out the simple contradictions that Prop 209 presents when it came to address racial inadequacies at the meeting this past Saturday, saying obviously this thing was created by hate and racism, and now you can't consider race to fix it. This is what they're saying. During this weekend task force, they were talking about how to get its recommendations turned into a law. Tell us what the process would look like to turn new recommendations around policies into law. Each recommendation that the task force makes would have to be taken up by individual lawmakers. That's just the reality, folks. Individual lawmakers. And some of the recommendations might be pretty broad, so they would have to be refined down, detailed. They have to be written into law and then lobbied for, passed through the state legislation in order to become a reality for people. This is what they're saying that they're going to work on. Now, you got Reverend Amos Brown. I know Reverend Amos Brown very, very well. He's a member of my fraternal organization. I've had debates with this brother. He's a big clergy. He's a big spiritual religious man, leader in the San Francisco area at Third Baptist Church. I literally, many, many years ago, at a chapter meeting with this brother, had a debate around the issue around the Million Man March. And he's involved, and there's people that have had their there's skepticism about these members of the board, whether they're right, because there was one person who said over the weekend, hey, brother, Reverend Amos Brown, Dr. Amos Brown, he's a doctor now. Isn't there a conflict of interest with you being involved in the San Francisco reparations bill, and now you're over here in this involved in this? So you're going to hear that today. But this is what it says here. Task Force member Reverend Amos Brown emphasized during the meeting yesterday that these recommendations still have a long way to go before becoming a law. He said, we still have miles to go and promises to keep before we fall asleep, if anything gonna become a reality, and for the meaningful, significant change in the lives of black folks in the state of California. I like the way he said that. One big thing they're doing is working on public education programs. Now, says this, fair amount of public support would be needed to pass these pieces of legislation. What is the task force doing to encourage public support for their recommendation? One big thing they're doing is working on public education programs. That means taking all of the information that was in that report, their report, and making sure that people in California actually know the history. One way they're doing that is to bring and trying to develop curriculum that would get this information into schools. They're also talking about creating grant programs that would support documentation and public art projects. Look, we need the goddamn check to be cut and cut right now.
Tell the truth.
They're also creating a grant program, as I said before. They would spread some of this history around that would make this information more available in our community, but all of that hasn't really happened yet. Okay, one big thing that's been coming up in public comments during the meetings yesterday, and I'm going to play that for you, and today, which was Friday and Saturday, is that the lack of real public awareness about what the task force is doing. People did say, we want to know more transparency. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
One public commentator this morning who identified himself as John Mudd spoke to the feeling, saying, I talk to people every day about reparations and I bring it up. This task force and no one knows about it. Ultimately, whether these recommendations are passed will come down to whether California supports this. That is a fact. That is the truth. That is the truth. Now, they have a few more in-person meetings before the deadline in June. There will be one in March, which is what they had just this past weekend, another in May, and then finally a meeting in June when the recommendations are finalized. There's also a bill in the legislation right now to extend work. This is about reparations, ladies and gentlemen. This is about reparations right now. Thank you for the super chat, Larry Anything Goes LLC. Thank you, brother.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Thank you for the super chat.
They have a few more in-person meetings before the deadline in June. There'll be one in March, which we had they just had this past weekend in the capital of California, which is Sacramento, another in May, and then finally a meeting in June when the recommendations are finalized. There's also a bill legislation right now to extend the work of the task force for an additional year. That will not change any of the deadlines. The final recommendations will still be due in June of this year, but it will give the task force members more time to work together in order to shape these proposals through the state legislation. So you got to understand something about reparations and how reparations work, ladies and gentlemen. The way reparations work.
Tell the truth.
The way reparations work. And I'm just going to keep, because I know people follow a lot of different groups that push reparations, right? The way reparations work is you got to do more than just have a rally. You got to do more than just have a pep rally and bring people together and talk about how we need reparations. If you ain't involved in engaging with these politicians and getting these politicians under your control, if you're not involved in the politics of reparations, we ain't going to get reparations. It was... I'm going to say it again. Black people need a political education. You're not going to get reparations by just saying we want reparations. You're not going to get reparations by just coming up with slick, feel-good slogans. You're just not. The only way you're going to get reparations
Tell the truth.
is to be involved on the ground level and putting pressure on the politicians, because the only people who have the money and control the purse strings of money in this society are the politicians. What's going on, Black Votron? I appreciate that. Let me do this for you. I gotta be honest with you all. Let me do this for you, brother. Let me pull up Black Votron. I appreciate that super chat. I really do. Let me pull you up real quick. So Black Votron gave me a $19 super chat, which I appreciate.
Thank you for the super chat.
He says, good afternoon, and Big B1, salute to you, brother information man, and the moderators. Thank you. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Peace to the House of Entertainment. Peace to Stephen Gilmore YouTube channel. Peace to Jill Chocolate Boutique. Ebony Queen, thank you for being here. Just peace to everybody. Empress Goddess, thank you for being here. I see you. I see everybody in the house there. Everybody who's coming over and blessing the channel with your time, your efforts. What's going on, Doc? Thank you for coming over. Doc Signer, thank you for being here. So this is the thing. You're not going to get reparations if your movement does not want to engage in politics. You just can't get it. Because who do you think controls the government? Politician. Who controls the money? So you can say all day that you're FBA. You can say all day that you're ADOS. You can say all those little acronyms that make you feel good, that sound good, that put you in little boxes over here and over there. But what good is it to put yourself under an acronym? And I'm not hating on people that call themselves FBA or ADOS. But if you're going to put yourself under acronyms, the only way you get the reparation is you got to be willing to engage in politics. Because you're not going to get anything. Nothing gets nothing from nothing. You're not going to get anything if you're not engaging. But that's the difference with the California Reparations movement, is that people are engaged in the politics of it. And they're putting their foots on the back of these politicians. And they're making noise about it. This is very important. I want you to understand this. Reparations has to be more than slogans. Reparations have to be more than a pep rally. Reparations have to be more than hashtags. Reparations have to be more than wearing a shirt with a logo on it. Reparations have to be more than just following one person as your almighty leader. Because a lot of black folks, we got too much of a messiah complex. Always have to follow somebody. No, reparations is for everybody that's under that lineage to take leadership in. Not one person, all of us. Let me go ahead and show you this. As I show you these pictures, as you see right there, as I told you, this is some of the task force members. And you see people speaking out, speaking their mind. Let's get to it right now. I want us to get to it right now. I want y'all to see and hear something.
Friday Jones, Thomas Williams, Thea Austin, Alexander Brannon, Karen Bunny, Gail Wilkerson, Matthew Burgess, Tanya Burgess, Jonathan Burgess, Manon Johnson, and Michael Johnson. So if you could please line up in that order, we would appreciate it. And our first presenter, please approach the mic, and each person will have 2 minutes. Good morning, Bishop. You have 2 minutes. Thank you. Good morning.
I really want you all to hear what these brothers and sisters are saying.
Y'all know who I am. And y'all know about my missing granddaughter, Shanika Williams. Okay? And y'all know about me from slavery, okay? Now, we going from the port.
He's going to talk about Oakland. Check this out.
For land. Thank you, that young man speaking on land yesterday.
Put a 7 if you can hear.
Port of Oakland for land and property, okay? On March the 9th. Anyone want to come down to support us getting land and property in Oakland, they're welcome to do that. We're going from the board. It'll be about 4:30 at the Port of Oakland and Oakland, okay? And I'm also preparing to buy a lot of land from the port and the railroad company there in Oakland, because all of Oakland was a slave plantation.
Folks, I got to tell you, I really wanted to be at this this conference. I was not able to make it due to family obligations. This was Friday the 3rd and Saturday the 4th. And my goal was to attend this because I got an email from one of the brothers from CJAC about this conference. This was in the Sacramento area, and I wanted to drive down to it. So this is my contribution. I was not there, but I wanted to show the family over here what Black people are doing to really try to make this thing work. And we got to unify and stop hating on each other on social media. There's bigger fish to fry out here. Let's continue. And we definitely have to target, as the sister left a message for me, we definitely have to target Black people that hate on each other. We definitely do. But let's continue.
All of it, okay, the port and the city. And it was run by the railroad companies, not the city, the state, but the Port of Oakland run by the railroad companies for 40 years, from
Talking about Oakland.
1852 to 1892. We won't change that and receive our money, gold, and land from the port. And I'm also prepared to file for reparation for all the Blacks in America and do it the right way. Okay, I'm prepared to do that because I've been in this for 50 years. I have material, a lot of material for everything, for all of it. I've done the research and the studies on it, okay? And I might not file from an American court. I might take it from the world's court.
World's court, he says.
But I want y'all, if you're gonna do this, do it the right way, okay? And Mr. Amos Brown, from what I see here,
Amos Brown right here.
Conflict of interest, what you doing. You here with the state and everything, sitting on the state panel and everything, and also then you're trying to get reparation in San Francisco. So, you know, the state and everything, they're paying it for the whole state if they pay it, you know. So it's a conflict of interest, what you're doing. So don't mess around and go to jail,
Dr.
okay?
Amos Brown.
All right? Because I'm a powerful attorney general for the state of California. If the governor don't pull you out of there, I can.
Okay, next speaker should be Aleem Shabazz.
Good morning, committee. My name is Aleem Shabazz. I'm from Compton, California, and Gardena. Beg your pardon? Yes, my name is Aleem Shabazz, and I'm from Compton and Gardena. Senator Bradford, you have been doing a tremendous job. What you have done with the college getting paid is phenomenal. They should also know that Governor Newsom signed it, but you did all the legwork, and I want to commend you. I have an organization called the Northeast Health Resource Center. It's a community development corporation, and my primary purpose is to get these young people working. One of the things that they have changed is what we call, when I was going to school.
Yes, fair use.
Was
fair use.
Programs that were electives, electrician, carpenters. We don't have that now. We need it. We need to get reinstituted and back into the system. Because if these youth do not have jobs, what else are they going to do? The other thing is that when they're busy, they're occupied, then we don't have to worry about them. They have self-confidence, they're happy, and they're working and providing a working wage. Now, they changed the term, what is called now CTE, Career Technical Education. All it is a trades. So we need to go back to what was working. When I was high school, I had elective, I had painting, I had carpentry, and now I formed a nonprofit, CDC, Community Development Corporation, so that we can institute. One of the greatest thing that Reverend Leon Sullivan had was the Workforce Development Program, where he had 400 pastors, started with 400 pastors.
Sir, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but thank you so much for coming out
you.
today. Thank you. All right, next speaker should be Elizabeth Jackson.
Oh yeah, Ms. Jackson isn't here today.
Fanny Barnes.
Ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen,
Good morning.
thank you all for being here. It's going to get, now this lady right here, she's going to get a little pushback by the crowd.
And I'm from Westmont, Georgia, but I've lived in California since 1969. And I'm happy to see the work that you're doing, which is great. And I feel that being an African American, that all Black people from Africa should be paid.
She's going to get pushed back, folks. You'll see.
We were not asked to be brought over here. Our ancestors were stolen and brought to this country and treated inhumane from the very beginning. And we are still being treated that way. The beginning of this year in January, a young brother in Tennessee was killed. By who? The police officers that's supposed to be protecting us. We have no protection in this country. We never have had any protection in this country. We have to protect ourselves. And we need to come together as a people.
I agree with that part of what she's saying.
We can stop all this stuff, okay? But we got to unite, okay? And not just Black people, but all people of color, because all people of color.
Oh, folks, that's the Trump card right there. Everybody in the audience was with this sister. I was with her. And then she got into the people of color, which you know what that is. That's a red herring. That's a political term that these Democrats use when they try to crowbar all these other groups into our movement and say it's about people of color. No, 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 it ain't. Because you got other people of so-called color that are just as racist towards Black people. And I'm sorry, they don't get none of this. Information Man Show says reparations, America has a debt to pay.
Tell the truth.
No, America doesn't have a debt to pay to people of color. America has a debt to pay to Black people who have lineage. I'm sorry, that's the facts.
Tell the truth.
But they're giving her some pushback there. I'm gonna let y'all hear how it all turns itself out here.
Okay. And not just Black people.
Here we go.
All people of color, because all people of color are oppressed in this country. And we don't need them. We raised them. We built this.
Allow her to give her public comment, please.
That's Ms. Moore, I think, talking. That's Ms. Moore talking.
Decade after decade. And if you have a problem with paying us, this is how you should pay us. You should pay us with land because the land belonged to us. Okay?
Interesting. I want that money. I'm sorry. I want that
You can't pay us with cash. Okay? We lived in this country for over 400 years. We were free.
Time for the
Thank
cash.
you so much, ma'am. I'm so
money
sorry
at
to
all.
cut you off in the middle of your sentence, but thank
Pay
you so
us.
much.
Okay,
Thank
pay
you very
us
much.
as far
We
as
need,
having us
thank you very much.
Once again, folks, this is the task force, an example of what they look like. People that are on the task force that are involved in making some decisions, but the people are putting pressure on them, and you're going to see this throughout this conference.
For coming out today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
so much.
So our next speaker should be Fiani Johnson, and remember to speak in the mic if you want your words recorded. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for having me here today. I am Fiani Johnson. I'm from East Palo Alto, California.
East Palo Alto.
Reparations
That's
for
in the East
EPA.
Bay.
However, I'm
South
here
Bay, in the
representing
South Bay.
Lost Bay area of Oakland, California. My employer, we are the Social Justice Collective, and we fight to change underlying causes of systemic racism, inequality, racially
Brenda
biased
Johnson,
policies.
I see you.
And for
Black
49
Anonymous, I
years,
see
BOSS
you.
has been working to
The Honorable Angelina Nordstrom, I see you.
house the houseless
Jay the Informant, I see you.
heal families who's been impacted by trauma and violence or whatever, the violence that we experience, and they support through mental health and offer reentry and rehabilitation services and employment and education, right? So we come here to uplift the task force in the work and propose that repair for our children who's dying in the communities and the mass incarceration of our mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. I think that we should be receiving land, cash, economic equality, resources. We need agency. We need restoration of hope in our communities. We need to dismantle the oppressive practices.
I see you, Golden Melanin.
We share
I see
these
you.
communities with, i.e.
Let me stop here. I love what Sister Golden Melanin just said. She's been rocking with me for a long time, everybody. Definitely shout her out in the chat room. She says, this is why we have to do away with some of these terms, especially when we deal with things from a legal matter. You're absolutely right.
Tell the truth.
Clap for you. Absolutely right.
Slavery, mass incarceration is still a form of slavery. So I come to you as a descendant of chattel slaves to say California is supposed to be a sanctuary state, and it has never been one
Deborah
for us.
Guns, I see
So
you.
therefore, please,
Deborah
please,
Gunn.
we just want this to be a part of the repair, and we're proposing that. And I want to just uplift Miss Camila Moore. Thank you for showing up, and you're being targeted because you're on point, sis. And
Look, it still doesn't change the fact that they owe us cash payments. Kendall, brother, you made a good point. They will find a way to keep us from buying land with cash. They're doing that to us already, and we ain't got no money. I don't care. Cash is the way to go. We need it all. Cash, land, exemption from all taxes in this country, and military participation. You damn right, Ian Skippy.
Tell the truth.
Let's continue.
we here, we support you, sis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker should be Emmanuel Smith.
See you, Ebony Queen. Many real estate free colleges and free therapy in every United States.
Members of the council, distinguished members of the council, especially Camilla Moore, Yasmin, and Fiani. I come to you by the grace of God in the spirit of St. Betty, the first Black woman doctor at Stanford in the cure of cancer. Cancer is not a death sentence. We bought our 40 acres and an ATV, and the state still seeks to steal it. But what they meant for evil, God meant for good.
Let me just shout out Brother Red Supreme TV. What's going on, brother? Saying shout out to the information man. Good show. Hey, what's going on, brother? Keep doing your thing on your channel. Stay on top of their heads. Keep doing your thing, brother. Thank you for coming by.
Tell the truth.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate you coming by, brother. You know, I appreciate you. It's about reparations, brother. It's about what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? They owe us this debt. They owe us this debt, brother, and you know it. And look, I think you're in California like me. It's real. I don't think people outside of California know how real this movement is in California, which can set the bar and the blueprint for the rest of the country. We are a lot further along than most people thought we would be. So thank you for coming over. I thank everybody for being here. Let's get back to the program, damn it.
I ran for governor, and the whole Bay came together to save my life. And so I'm asking the citizens for the job of being the first Black governor of the so-called liberal state of California. Lineage is legacy. It's time to separate the wheat from the chaff. As task force members, you know the law. If I put my hands on my head like this and say, am I being arrested or detained? I have now completed my compact with the police. It's the officer's duty after that to complete their compact with mine. This will be the biggest case since Dred Scott. Am I a citizen, or can I be maimed, falsely accused? Or
now, I understand what the brother is saying, but this really doesn't have, how can I say this? I want to be respectful. He's really off topic, and he's at the same time, he's still on topic, because we know that Black men are being harmed by police in this country. That is true. But he's really not on topic of the issue of reparations. A lot of times, this is a problem that we have as a people. And that problem is that we don't get a lot of attention paid to us. So when we get a microphone in front of our face or a camera or something like this, we sometimes want to tell all of we want to tell it all because nobody listens to us. Nobody hears us. So I get it. He's talking about something that happened to him. And then sometimes we get Black people who get into the dramatics too. When the bottom line is we need to stay on the focus of the topic. We know that the police are brutalizing us, but this task force is not there to fix the brutalization of Black men or Black women by the police. The task force is put together to deal with whether we deserve reparations due to past ills, past discretions, past redlining, Jim Crow, Allensworth. You had a place called Allensworth that was destroyed in California. And these stories are all over the country. Then I found out in this task force over this weekend that there was a place called Russell City Reparation Justice Project. The city of Hayward, California, which is in the East Bay near Oakland, is working with former Russell City residents and their descendants to explore the appropriate reparation response to the forced relocation from Russell City residents from their homes and their businesses. This is what this whole thing is about. Restitution for what has happened to Black people as it relates to economics, socially. Let's get back to this. Let the brother say what he's got to say.
Falsely imprisoned for running out of gas.
Yeah, we have been falsely imprisoned.
As
You're
California has acknowledged my lineage, they have also acknowledged that the descendant community is my peer group and left my jury. I have full belief in that community.
Okay.
Mama Gail told me I have a dream. I looked at Sister Tiambe and
Tell the
told
truth.
her, I already lived the dream. Now it's time for your children and grandchildren to live theirs as well. Everyone says I should be dead. I should have died like Arbery, like Floyd. But by God's grace, the spirit within me refused to let me die with a knee on my neck. So now there's 50 million Blacks in America. Multiplied by 5 equals $250 million a month. That's 200 new Black millionaires between the ages of 18 and 27 per month, 2,400 a year. And the means to pay those who secure those contracts. In the time the task force has been doing its work, We've missed out on embedding roughly 7,800 new Black millionaires into the pipeline of our congressional duty.
Sir, thank
Do
you.
it yourself.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next
I heard what he said there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me read what Chilling with Monica had to say. She said, reparation lineage only. Black immigrants should pursue the claim in their prospective land. Foundational Black Americans will be. They're already doing that. Have you ever heard of something called CARICOM? CARICOM is an organization in the Caribbean that is bringing together all the Caribbean countries, islands, and what have you, to fight for their reparations from Great Britain. In the continent of Africa, you have Africans in those different countries in Africa as a continent that are also fighting for reparations from Great Britain as well. So this is very, very much a real situation. Very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's legitimate. They are already fighting for their reparations. In South Africa, they've been fighting to get their land back from those Afrikanis that were oppressing them, doing, apartheid. But Black Americans are not interfering in their plights and telling them what to do. And we shouldn't. So therefore, people should not be telling us about our plight and telling us what we should be sharing with them and what have you. No, you have to fight for where your head and your roots have been laid down. And that's just the bottom line here. Let's get back to the rest of this conference. And let me see who else is in the chat room. I want to say shout out to Brenda Johnson, who says she's a voter in California. She says, Brenda Johnson, who's been rocking with me for a long time, says let me put this back up here. She says, every minority in America has received some form of reparations, except for American descendants of slavery. She's absolutely correct.
Tell the truth.
I'll give you a clap for that.
Please make sure to subscribe
You're
to his
absolutely 100% orange juice correct. There's no doubt about that. I want to say, Judah Queen, thank you for being here. Unicorn Savage, Jill's Chocolate Boutique, Deborah Gunn, user with 1GSF. What's going on? I see you showing some respect to folks in the chat room. We've got the X here. X1 Green Ranger says, you are right, information man. Thank you. Oh, let me get some respect. Let me get some respect to Street Media TV. Street Media TV. Street Media TV is my brother, George Macomb. Remember, George Macomb has an organization called Urban Nerds Worldwide. It's a nonprofit. You can support it. You can get the beautiful merch that they have over there, and you'll be supporting a Black man who is going out there doing the work with Black kids, Black children, mentoring them, getting them involved in STEM, letting them see different things in their world. Matter of fact, I think I need to get George Macomb back on the channel and interview him about. This is what I want to do, George. I want you to gather up some of your students that are a part of your Urban Nerds Worldwide, your partner, and I want to get you all on the show, and I want you to talk about the program, and I want to have the kids give their testimony about what they're learning. On this channel, brother, let's do that, George. Let's do that program. I'll be in contact with you about that. Because we're about the real deal over here on the Information Man Show. Let's get back to it.
Speaker can approach the mic, please. Our next speaker, thank you, sir. Next speaker, please. That should be Mahar Boyle Hassan. And if that person's not here, Roy Lee. Roy Lee is next. Good morning.
All right.
Good morning, Task Force. My name is Roy Lee. I represent the Bay Area, Kingdom Warriors Foundation, HHF. I'm here today to say thank you guys for your hard work, but it's one word that I want to say is redemption. And we need to be redeemed for all the hurt, all the harms America is supposed to be United States. We've been divided for a long time. Our people have been divided. So it's great to know that we come together to be unified for this moment, to stand up, to be heard, to be seen, to be felt. And this is our legacy. We're gonna stand on it. If y'all don't want to give it to us, we're gonna take it. God bless.
Okay, next speaker, thank you, sir, should be Jonathan Booker Bohannon. Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Good morning. The entire world is watching what we're going to do here in California. This should be an effort on the federal level because we in California are not the only people deserving reparations. What if the people who marched from Selma to Montgomery were marching for their right to vote and their right only? If and when we get reparations here, I urge you all to consider what we will say to the people just like us in Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, Texas, who won't get a single dime.
Yo, it's your boy Leo.
Are we going
What's
to tell
up,
them to all
man?
move here? Are we going to shun them and tell them to beat the mountain of racism they face every day in the Deep South? It might hurt some of us to say this now, but now is the time to be selfless, not selfish. Either way, if these efforts initially end up being limited to the state of California, we have to be united around a foundational plan that makes so much sense that it is unattackable as possible and can be adopted everywhere, including the Deep South. I have a plan that can do that. I don't want us to be fighting for reparations for the next 50 years. I stayed away from topics like this for years because we talk about it forever with no realistic solutions. I'm very delighted to say these efforts in California have changed my mind. This is the first year I'm getting involved because Black people are not at all incapable. But at the same time, we shouldn't be viewed as some sort of superhuman race who are expected to be able to participate in this game of Monopoly against all odds, where most, if not all, the property is already owned due to a concentrated racist effort to stop Black prosperity. Understand that the opposition is not made up of stupid people. These people are lawyers, the United Daughters of the Confederacies, who are still thriving today, and even religious zealots who are ready and willing to misuse Christianity and the Word of God. We have to be extremely tactful, and this requires extreme ingenuity because, like the woman who was speaking at the beginning of yesterday, reparations won't end discrimination. I have a plan that a few of you on the panel, as well as a few people in the audience, now have a copy of entitled the Silver Lining Act of 2023. We can beat the opposition. I'm available to share the plan to anyone interested. It's a plan that I believe is very likely to actually pass and address a wide range of issues as well as the shortcomings we didn't anticipate in 1965 that just about everyone has brought up so far. My name is Jonathan Bohannon, and like you and many others in this room and people all over America, I'm here to help make this happen. Let's make history. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, our next speaker should be Josiah Williams. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, task force members. My name is Josiah Williams. I'm with the American Redress Coalition of California and the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California. I wanted to start off by saying that we appreciate all the work that you're doing to help our community. We also appreciate
Make sure y'all check out Street Media TV. That's George Macon.
For eligibility for the
descendants of
U.S. chattel slavery as being the eligible party. We encourage you to ensure that the proposals that come out is also aligned with that. After reading some of them, I understand that they're still being worked on, but a lot of them are they include some all lives matter language. And so we want to make sure that it's going to be structured to actually help the specific community that was harmed. In addition, I agree with what was said regarding the federal reparations effort as well. We can take what's going on in the state of California and actually use that as a federal program. We know that there's other efforts that's in place, but they are staying still. And so we want.
So Old Reliable has been a model on my channel for a very long time. And he says this: my pops, bless his soul, was from the Bahamas. I was there in my youth in the 60s. From what I hear, a lot of them want to come to the United States. Yeah, because they want to have, in their opinion, a better life than what they're having in the Bahamas. But they have to recognize that you're coming over here on a foundation that was built on the blacks of lineage Black people, freemen, FBA, ADOS, whatever we want to label ourselves as. That's the thing. When you come over here, you have to be respectful to people who led the way, who made the foundation that allowed you to be able to come over here in the first place. It was Black people in America have lineage and born here who made it possible for immigration to be what it is today, for other people to come over and benefit and be fruitful. That's the point.
want to allow California
you,
to lead the
Reliable.
nation in this justice effort. In addition, we discussed talking about the federal, the Freedmen's Bureau. We believe that it should be an independent agency instead of being an oversight committee. We want to ensure that the agency is actually able to enact change.
Yo, it's your boy.
We don't
Thank
want the ability to be put in the hands of just a group of CBOs. We believe that some can actually contribute, but we also know that in a lot of cases, the pursuit of justice is pretty much the effort that is going on, and it's not actually in achieving justice. So you get these organizations that end up just being able to sustain themselves while the communities stay in the same place. So we want to ensure that the community organizations that is included.
Let me see. I was looking for Q Butter. I noticed that Q Butter is in the chat room. Q Butter is another brother that I need to get on and interview him about his school, his educational institution. Q Butter is doing great things over there. Let me definitely give him the shout out in all respect. Q Butter, I just noticed in my other thing over here that you were here in the chat room. He says, peace, black family. Yeah, look. Let's just keep this in mind. This isn't about hating on black people in a diaspora. I've got no hate for brothers and sisters in the continent or in the Caribbean, because I know that they're fighting for their reparations for what is due them in their land that they live on in their lineage. I'm going to repeat this. The California Reparations movement is lineage-based because the laws in California do not allow you to have a reparations bill that is not tailored to people who have a lineage. That's the laws in our state. That's the reason why it's like that. And people were pushing for it to be that way. But even if people didn't push for it to be that way, they couldn't sell this to go into law, because this did go into law, which is why we're moving forward in California. It is a blueprint, I believe, for other parts of the country. But the only way it can happen is that you have to get involved politically. Even though I don't like politics. We know that politicians are slicker than a Snicker bar. But you can't make it happen by sitting around saying reparations. It don't happen out of the thin air until you have activists on the ground. We have a lot of activists on the ground in California that's getting us to where we are. This task force that happened this weekend in Sacramento, California, was another way that the audience, the people out there, the activists, to hold the task force accountable for what they want to see. That's just the damn truth.
Tell the truth.
But I was looking for my man Q Butter, and I'm gonna put him on the screen. There he is, right there. And just like I said about George, I need to, as well, Q Butter, and it's been a long time overdue, Q Butter, way overdue. Should have done this a long time ago. I need to get you on the channel and interview you about the program. It would be great, just like George, for you to have some of your students, you know, if possible, people that work in the program with you. So it's a comprehensive interview about what you're doing over there. And see, these are the sort of people that you should be donating your money to, not people that's leading you astray. And I'm not, you know who I'm talking about, but brothers like Q Butter and George Makem, Urban Nerds Worldwide, and Ziax Institute, Q Butter. It's brothers like this who have legitimate programs where you can see what they're doing, and you should be giving your donation money to them when they have real programs. Let's get back to it.
It's actually invested into achieving justice for the community. And I think that a Freedmen's Bureau will be able to assist with that effort. Thank you.
They want to bring a
Thank you, sir.
Bureau back.
Before our next speaker, I believe the mayor of Sacramento has come in.
Oh, God.
Oh, thank you. All right. Okay.
They're going to have the mayor of Sacramento talk. And you know how these slick politicians are? They're thinking about their long game and their political game, right? They're thinking about, I need votes. We need black folks. I need black folks to vote for me because I'm going to run for governor. I'm going to run for Senate. I'm going to run for Congress. I'm going to run for president of these United Snakes of America. Because, and so I just got to be clear with you. You know, they say a lot of things to butter up the biscuits because they want us to vote for them, right? And so you can't trust some of these politicians in general. But let's get back to it, shall we?
Continue. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. Our next speaker is Lamont Collins.
Lamont Collins, come on
Please
up.
come on down.
Come on
Good
down,
morning.
brother. Speak up, Lamont Collins.
My name is Lamont Collins. I'm a member of the Monterey Park Tract community in Stanislaus County near Modesto, California.
This brother's going to become very emotional.
Established in 1941.
Listen to his story.
When my great-grandmother's mother brought her here from Oklahoma to get away from Tulsa. And in 2023, we're still facing the same things. Like I heard the sister say yesterday about her family wanting to create Black Wall Street. And
I got to stop this because a lady 747, which I appreciate you coming over, you're speaking the truth. You have to vote in your individual states for this. Look, all government is local. Let me say this again. All government is local, meaning it all starts in your local area. What are you doing locally on the ground? And don't get me wrong. We know that politics is a dirty game. The Republicans and Democrats are the same bird of two wings, left wing, right wing. Democrats screw you with Vaseline while Republicans screw you without Vaseline. It's a dirty game, but all politics is local first, ladies and gentlemen. Get back to it. Thank you, Lady 747.
Well, my people had the same vision for Monterey Park Tract and Series, and we're still suffering from the water contamination, discrimination, land seizures through eminent domain and those types of things. Still today, my people came and they bought a lot of land. My family, half of that community is owned by my father's side, the other half is owned by my mother's side. And we have very little of that land left. Ain't nobody left fighting for it but me and my cousin. And like my people did then, I'm willing to do it now and fight for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I want to know, how can I get a panel like this to Stanislaus County? Because I happen to find out about this word of mouth, not through the radio or the TV or none of that. And I've been in a meeting like this before down in the basement of a church where the black people's giving away millions of dollars to black business owners, and nobody knew. I happen to know because of who I was related to. And I want to bring that up, and I'd like you to Google Juanita Jackson of Ceres, California, if you have the time. Look her up on legacy.com if you have the time. RHH.
I want to say peace to Brother Ben of BS3 Network again. Appreciate you being here today. I have two different things. I'm streaming this live, and I got something else that I streamed during the week, streaming on BS3 Network. This particular production will be streamed on BS3 Network next week as a pre-produced video. But I thank you for being here, Brother Ben, and doing what you do. Let's get back to it.
WordPress.com if you have the time. And you'll see why I fight. Because she sat with Huey and tried to right the wrongs. She was with Alex Haley when he wrote the book about the very shit that we're talking about now. And I just want to know how and when are we going to really get some help? There's a line in this room that's so thick, and we all come from the same tree. And if you listen to the white man that we all following and listening to, he told you it was a black woman that brought us here. She was the first. So what are we arguing about? I'm this black or I'm that black. We all black. And when you walk outside and the police get on your ass, you ain't gonna tell him I'm this or I'm that. This is my first meeting here. I don't know what the division is about, and I don't pretend to know, but whatever it is, it need to go.
Right there, because he actually is right. When the police jumps on us, or this system jumps on us, this corrupt, evil system, they don't ask you, are you a black person from America? Are you a black person from Africa? Are you a black person from the Caribbean? The minute they see your black skin, you don't have the, as Paul Mooney used to say, you don't have the complexion for the protection.
Tell the truth.
Like other people do. The minute they see that black skin, they don't ask you, okay, you're Caribbean, you're African, so we ain't gonna put hands on you. We only looking for black. Look, we've already seen examples of that this year, last year. You had that brother, that African brother in Michigan. You see what they did to him. So he is right about that. But let's continue on. Still, reparations have to be a lineage-based because that's the law in California. And the truth of the matter is, we are black people born here in America who went through that Jim Crow, who went through those slave fields. Black people that were impacted in California and across this country that lost land, got redlined, got their land blighted and taken away from them. That was lineage. That was specific to a particular group of black people who did not come here as immigrants in the 80s or the 70s or 60s. That's a fact. Most black people who lived in California migrated from the South. And the reason why the LAPD is so bad because they recruited a lot of racist police from the South up to Los Angeles that joined the police department, and they brought those Jim Crow ways there. Let's continue.
We need to get on the same boat, same thing.
Sir,
like
thank you.
All in the same boat and brought us here.
Thank you for coming out today. We really appreciate your comments.
I hope you appreciate it enough to come help us out.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker should be Tiara Ryder.
I'll clap for him.
Tiara Ryder or Tony Tinker Loken. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, task force members. Thank you for the work that you have been doing. I've been following you since the beginning. And the only thing I can think of is, Member Tamaki, you were absolutely right. We have things that we're going to face that we have no idea. This is going to divide our community in ways that we have yet to see. What I am here today to tell you is that make sure,
yes,
if you do
the government's
nothing else,
never been our friend,
that
bronze
the
flat
blueprint
power
that
god.
you put forth, the recommendations that you put forth are clear. I'm a person who worked on ethnic studies. I'm a person who worked on many, many bills that comes out of Sacramento. And I will tell you, once you are all gone, it'll be left to us to implement your words and your voices. And too many times I've seen money come in and it's gone before it ever hits the community. And you know why? Because there's all these administration costs before it ever hits the ground. So you need to leave us with your voices. You need to make sure that we are on board with you in each of these counties to make sure that we can continue your work forward. Otherwise, we're going to be left. Your economist was right on. She said, I'm hoping to leave a blueprint for people to continue this work because this is the first step. Now, I applaud you because suddenly people are up here speaking, and I remember in the beginning it was shut off. Okay? That's what's going to happen once you leave. Make sure that
Let me just say this because I know this brother right here is saying that it's been done before, that it's a clown show. Look, everything about America can be a clown show. I agree with you there. But what you're seeing on this video is that these people are simply just holding them accountable, and they have big decisions to make. Now, look, the reparations movement in this country is moving more further along than it is at the federal level with that do nothing bill in Washington that's getting nowhere. Those Negroes in Washington, the do nothing black congressional do nothing caucus, it's not moving anywhere. The situation in California is moving a little bit more fluently than what's happening nationally. And we're actually the only state in this union that actually am moving the reparations along. Matter of fact, for just so you know, if you don't know this, it was signed into law by the governor that reparations will be lineage-based in California for black people who are born here through lineage. The people that you see in the audience and working behind the scenes, they're just staying on top of these committees because you know how these committees and the people on the committee are being held accountable by the community. So it will always stay a joke if we're not visually active in demanding what we want, because power conceives nothing without demand. It's a hell of a lot better than spending most of our time on YouTube having these nonsense conversations about the battle of the sexes, a war between black women and black men, it's hilarious. These conversations are musty, dusty, and crusty. Because while we're fighting each other, our real enemies are sitting back and laughing and saying, look at those Negroes that can't even get along with each other. Honey, pop the popcorn. Let me watch how they talk about each other like a dog and laugh.
DOJ leaves us with the ability to go into the wills, into the probates, into the places that we need to go. Because otherwise we're going to start from the beginning and have to fight. Call us, take our names, take our numbers, come back to us.
Thank
If
you.
you want this to be successful, talk to all of us that have come here to make comments.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming out today. Next should be Friday Jones. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm free
What's
running
going on?
today, so bear
Daryl
with me.
Long,
I'm
good to
Friday
see you
Jones.
here, brother.
My name is Constance Jones Muhammad.
Okay.
I'm a
I got to stop this right here. I don't know how many of you all remember this. I've got a couple of videos on reparations. This sister right here I know this sister right here is heavily involved in the reparations movement in California, and she's a part of CJAC. Remember I had her on my channel, her with Brother Chris and the whole 9 yards? And we had a great conversation about it, and she was breaking some things down. I want y'all to hear what she has to say. This sister's dynamic. The real Aaron Collins, thank you for that super chat. I thank you for that, brother. Most definitely, I'll give you just a little bit of a celebration here, but we got to really get back on task.
Information is power. Thank you for the super chat.
Tell the truth.
All right. Thank you for that super chat, brother.
Tell the truth.
Now, let's get to her right now. This sister.
Come back to us.
Thank
If
you.
you want this to be successful, talk to all of us that have come here to make comments.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming out today.
This sister is intimately
next should be
involved in the
Friday
movement in
Jones.
California.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm free running today, so bear with me. I'm Friday Jones. My
Friday
name is
Jones.
Constance Jones Muhammad. I'm a commissioner for the city of LA, president of the National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants,
All right.
founding member of a coalition for a just and equitable California. Couple of things. One, thank you all for agreeing to in live sessions. If you could add some Fridays and Saturdays, because of the 4 dates you put on the table, only one is a Friday, and we are working people, and 2 days off of work is a bit much to ask of us. Two, SB 51, we need to support that cannabis bill that Senator Bradford wrote. It's equity in the cannabis space. We also need to support Sam Brown's ending of slavery and servitude in the state of California. So I want people listening outside of this room to support those efforts and that work. And as far as the prison population is concerned, I went inside and talked to a prisoner. San Quentin News, Los Angeles Sentinel, Bayview, Ear Hustle Podcast. That is how the prisoners can find out what's going on, because there have been no accommodations by the state in order to communicate with them and check in on their needs. Last, the beneficiary classes, I understand it is define the community of eligibility based on lineage determined by an individual being an African-American descendant of chattel enslaved persons or the descendant of a free Black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. That needs to be your language, like in an agreement. The beneficiary class, that's the definition. All these other terms, words, lose them in the reports and in the final recommendations because it lacks clarity. Finally, I am a descendant of the Shinnecock Nation in New York. I understand that my great-great-grandfather, Jahu Miller, who is mixed with French, is Blackfoot Shinnecock Nation Indian. I'm fully aware that my great-grandmother, Tracy, 7 generations back, was imported into Charleston, South Carolina. I know who I am. I know who the white people are that purchased my family. I know who my indigenous nation is. I do not understand all of this animosity that we have with this gangbanging of whose name, ADOS, FBA, Freedmen. I don't care.
Ms. Jones?
The definition
Ms. Jones?
has been defined,
Thank
and
you.
y'all need to knock it all the way off.
Thank you so
for my
much.
time.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
All right.
Okay. All right.
I want to give her a much respectful, take that off of there. I want to give her definitely a respectful cheer again. And once again, she was on this channel. I'm going to have her back. A powerful sister. Cocoa Butter saying hello to the chat. Thank you for being here, Cocoa Butter. I appreciate that. And I got some super chats, and I really appreciate these super chats. The first one, let me see. We got my man Red Supreme TV, who gives me a $7 super chat. Red Supreme TV, reparations for foundational Black Americans. Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
And of course, we've got Sister Deborah Gunn, who gave me a super chat, $10 super chat from the UK. From Deborah Gunn's California, cut the check.
Thank you for the super chat.
And I gotta say peace to Stephen Gilmore. This brother has a great channel, lots of wisdom. I still gotta get him on the channel. Peace to you, brother. I'm having some tongue-tied here, excuse me. And then we have the Intellectual Soapbox. Check out the Intellectual Soapbox channel. Thank you for coming over, appreciate that. But because of that beautiful super chats that I have received, now I have to give you the super chat celebration. I'll give you the ultimate one right here. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for the super chat.
Time to run it off. I wake up. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check, no drip this. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check, no drip this. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. 9 out of 10 rub through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check.
All right, thank you, everybody. Let's get back to it right now. I appreciate everybody in the chat room. Make sure you share this video in your community tab. Share this video in your Facebook, your Twitter, wherever you have social media that you can drop this into that social media. Go ahead and do so. Tell someone about the channel. I appreciate the support I'm getting here. Wonderful folks in the chat room. This is a very important stream because I know that we got to keep our necks on these task force members, these politicians, because if we don't, they'll just throw any kind of slop our way. And so let's get back to this right now.
Next should be Thomas Williams. Is Thomas Williams here? All right, come on up. All right.
All right, Thomas Williams is coming. Here we come.
Thank you, and good morning.
Uh-oh, this brother got a pink, he got a Pink Panther outfit on. He's suited.
Honorary of my dad, Bishop William Williams of Kingdom Warriors.
Kingdom Warriors.
I want to speak about the Port of Oakland, 25% for the blacks is owed to them. And
the Port of Oakland, guess who built that Port of Oakland? Guess who manned that Port of Oakland, California? It was black men. And they got shortchanged, they got mistreated, and never got compensation that is owed to them or their families. Hear him talk about it. I need
for Sheriff Department, Police Department, Task Force, and the press to find my missing daughter, Shanika. Missing for 2 years. If it's one white person that's missing, the news will be on the first day.
Tell the truth.
Black people media don't get no press. We're still in slavery, 400 years of oppression. How long is this gonna last? When is it end? We're still in bondage. How long will this continue? Get back to Black Wall Street. Time is now, now's for never.
Tell the truth.
Find my missing daughter, Shanika. Bring her home. Thank you, Task Force. God bless.
Thank you, sir. Next should be Thea Austin. Is Thea here today? Please come on down. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to make a brief comment and favorable peace and blessings to the conscious collective of the 21st century Freedmen's Bureau, serving the people, African descendants of American slavery.
Tell the truth.
Genocidal Holocaust. I'd like to appeal to all regarding reparations. Legislation needs to continue to be awakened and touched by the debt owed by the government to past traumas, past hurts created for our Black American psyche, nervous system, general way of life. I want to thank the people who made me aware and brought me here and say that we need to appeal to all regarding reparations and lift every voice, right the wrongs of the past so that the future can be better for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to come in. The next speaker on the list is Alexander Brannon.
Corrected, Black Votron said that the brother was wearing a purple paisley suit, but he told the damn truth.
Tell the truth.
And thank you, Cocoa Butter, for telling everybody to subscribe and like and all that good stuff. Continue.
Please, good morning, sir.
Peace and reparations. Good morning to the task force and all the participants here today. My name is Jay Alexander. I'm a proud veteran, Prince Hall Freemason, and a freedman. I grew up in Compton in South Central Los Angeles during the 1970s and the 1980s. I'm amongst the first children to benefit from a fully integrated schools and many of the benefits granted after the Civil Rights Movement. I've experienced Black communities striving and growing with Black wealth. In Los Angeles, many Black people were working at Boeing's, McDonald Douglas, and Raytheon companies, and I remember an abundance of Black families, Black unity, home ownerships, business ownerships, and school teachers. My own grandfather, Roger Rain, supported his family as a private contractor. Empowerment groups like the Black Panthers and Freemasonry were present in the Nation of Islam and Black churches as well. After school programs, holiday parades, and community centers existed in these communities, as did free lunches and swim lessons. Then came the 80s and Reaganomics. Guns and crack were released on our people. I came of age as our Black communities, businesses, along with our beautiful people, were being decimated by aggressive policing and the crack epidemic. I returned home from the Army 21 days after the Rodney King riots to a city still smoking. I believe the Freedmen Bureau should be reinstated and reestablished throughout the entire nation, especially here in California. Lastly, I make the statement on behalf of my ancestors walking in the footsteps of two great men. Prince Hall, who was a freedman, voter, property owner, and community activist who established the first and longest existing Black fraternity in the nation at the same time that the nation was being formed.
You that we are prisoners of war. Neely Fuller Jr. told us that we're behind enemy lines, and they don't. The reason why we're so poorly treated is because they still see us as slaves, shackled slaves. They still believe that they own us, that we're still a commodity to them. So I get your perspective.
And Colonel Allen Allensworth, who was also a freedman and established the first all-freedman town here in California, just north of Bakersfield, where I currently reside.
And let me say peace to God's little princess. So many great people in there. Alan Christian, All Reliable, Deborah Guns, who super chatted me. Red Supreme TV's rocking with us today. Let's continue.
This town was sabotaged along with many of Black Wall Streets and our communities. Reparations will repair this nation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's see. Next should be Karen Burney. Is Karen here this morning?
Where are you, Karen?
Otherwise, we have Gail Wilkerson.
Gail Wilkerson, come on.
This morning.
Where are they?
Next, we have Matthew Burgess. Good morning. You have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
This brother's going to tell a really good story. Listen.
Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to speak to you as a fifth-generation Californian
And as much as my words are important, it's important for you to hear the words of our ancestors as well, because they still speak.
The shop is sitting about where my grandmother's house was. And the peace chiefs were in above there. Between there, well, you know where the Burgess line, see Burgess come out, joined with us, and the state got the whole business. But,
Those words were from Jimmy Monroe, one of the last living descendants of on the Monroe side of the blood, brought to Coloma. His ancestors were brought to Coloma as well as slaves. You see, we were formerly enslaved. Mr. Monroe, he's talking about land. He's talking about the peaches that my grandfather, great-grandfather produced. And see, we joined together because we were formerly enslaved people, but we were more than joined by not just names, it was blood too. But we joined to cultivate and restore land and distribute fruit and all those things that every person wants as far as an opportunity. But during that time, and sometime, there was the state plotting to take land. You see, he said the state took over the business. Well, what business are we talking about? We're talking about the business of agricultural. This is a farm to fork region, and fruit was produced in those lands, vital fruit. But at the same time, my folks and ancestors were brought here as slaves and enslaved and sold here that we can prove. We have Levi Strauss. Now, Mr. Strauss immigrated from Germany.
Hear what he about to tell you. Levi Strauss, the jeans that we've enjoyed wearing over the years. The 49ers stadium is named after Levi Strauss, who made his money in California. Listen to this story. What are you going to say right here?
Restore land and distribute fruit and all those things that every person wants as far as an opportunity. But during that time, and sometime, there was the state plotting to take land. You see, he said the state took over the business. Well, what business are we talking about? We're talking about the business of agricultural. This is a farm to fork region, and fruit was produced in those lands, vital fruit. But at the same time, my folks and ancestors were brought here as slaves and enslaved and sold here that we can prove. We have Levi Strauss. Now, Mr. Strauss immigrated from Germany in 1853. And the irony here is that my great-grandfather was brought here as a slave and worked in the gold mines in 1850. Mr. Strauss, on the other hand, built a brand in San Francisco. The irony here is we talked about mass incarceration. We talked about the criminal justice system, but no one's talked about the brand that Levi Strauss built with government contracts, started from 1875 to 1901.
Mr.
That's
Burgess,
a lifetime sentence, y'all.
I'm so
We
sorry
have family members spending lifetime sentences
to
in prison,
interrupt
but
you
the government gave us a
in the
contract
middle of your
for 25
sentence,
years.
but thank
Descendants
you.
of slaves, we want contracts for 25 years
you have
in
2 minutes,
perpetuity.
sir?
We don't just want the right.
But thank you so much. Your comment.
You could tell they probably muted his mic at that time. He was telling the truth. There was something that Black Voltron or somebody wrote that I wanted to read. And we've got what's going on? What's going on? Inroads, the Mass Media Group. Make sure you check this brother's channel out and subscribe because he's involved with the reparations movement here in California on the ground. He's going to these committee meetings. He intimately knows what's going on. He's also putting this type of material on his channel, so give him support. He says, here is an interview we did with Matt Burgess and his cousin in Coleman County. Look, check that. Look. I need to see that interview as well. So what we're going to do is let me click into it and add that interview to this video in the description page. So I'll put it in the description page when I have an opportunity, brother. I will do that. But make sure you check out Mass Media Group because I've had them on this channel talking about the issues of reparations, and they're no joke. Everything. What's going on, Mike B? I see you in the chat room. Let's get back to this, but I'm just trying to give people some respect here that are watching the program today because, you know, I don't want to just play this and not have any type of interaction with you as well. We got Man, we got some great folks coming in here today. Carolina 2-star. What's going on, Sister 2 Stars in the house? Yeah. Angeline, the Honorable Angelina Nordstrom's. A lot of folks coming in. Coco TV. What's going on? Another Gmail. We got Wiley T. We got Brenda King. If I'm saying it all correct, thank you for coming over. Stephen Gilmore's YouTube channel. What's going on, Coco TV? We got to do something again together. Make sure y'all check out her channel as well. Check each other's out. Write each other's name down and subscribe to each other's channels because people are doing good things over here in the YouTube streets. And of course, you know my man, Street Media TV, which is George Makem. Don't go to sleep on his channel. He's doing big things. We're going to get him on this channel again with the Urban Nerds Worldwide program he's got going on. Hopefully he can get some of his students on with us that we can really chop it up about what he's doing with that program. Is in Philadelphia, but he's trying to expand it to other parts of the country as well. So I really appreciate you all that are here. Let's get back to the rest of this.
Comments are recorded. Next we have Tanya Burgess.
Tanya's not going to be here.
Okay,
so-
Jonathan?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Please go ahead. You have 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
I think I've already.
Madam Chair and members of the task force, first of all, I want to thank you for your work that you've done so far. But I also want to talk about Reverend Brown, something you would know, my great-grandfather, he wrote to the Pacific Appeal newspaper in 1880, 1870 about the colored kids being turned away from school. And what he said was that to the Colored Citizens Convention, I don't know what you call yourselves doing, convention, but these kids were turned away from school. Now, I'll tell you guys, as a colored folk task force, I don't know what you're doing, but I want you to push this through, just like my great-granddaddy said. He also spoke about miscarriages of justice. In fact, the last hanging in Coloma he spoke about. I wonder how a man of his age could talk about a hanging, 1857. He said it was a miscarriage when the black man, the Negro man was hung for being accused of a robber and the white man was hung for raping the Negro man's wife. It was deemed that they both were to be hung. He said it was a miscarriage of justice. Now, he said a number of things were miscarriage of justice. So I'm going to tell you guys something. It would be a miscarriage of justice to our ancestors for you to allow these economic people not to total up the land of those ancestors from the 1850s, 60s, and 70s, 80s that were on the census records that just poofed and disappeared. I asked myself why there are no white folks on this panel. I understand because I had a friend tell me as a 14-year-old girl, she told me just recently what she heard over a campfire in Placerville about the lynchings and the hangings and pushing people off of cliffs for land. So it's a miscarriage of justice for you guys not to tell how in 1988, previous governor of California, who became the president, Ronald Reagan, resurveyed land that belonged to black pioneer families, 400 acres worth. That's a miscarriage of justice. It would be a miscarriage of justice for you guys not to allow these people to sign these checks, total up the lands for the people that we don't know about. See, my family, we got deeds and receipts that go back from 1870. It's a miscarriage of justice for you to allow novice people to go on the state website and speak the rhetoric like it's the gospel, saying that my great-grandfather only owned 10 acres of land when he got a deed in 1877 from a guy that was the Supreme Court justice in California. It's a miscarriage of justice to remove the white folks that did the right thing for black folks in history. It's a miscarriage of justice for our educational systems to teach people like the person in Placerville that called yesterday to talk about the Confederates, right? That brought slaves that ended up being supervisors, judges, lawyers, book writers.
Sir, thank you. Thank you so much. Your 2 minutes are up, but feel free to submit your comments in writing. The task force does want to hear from you, and thank you for taking the time to come out.
Thank you, and this was not directed at any of you. Do your job.
Thank you. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Next, we have Marion Johnson, and then last on the list is Michael Johnson, and then we'll do a check-in with the task force. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Marion Johnson, and I am a former resident of Russell City. As an infant, I was one of those families that was forced out. I had two sides of my family that were located there, my father's side, my mother's side. My father's side owned 10 plots. My mother's side owned 2 plots. My parents were put out and giving nothing, no resources. And that was by choice. When the county decided to take our land by eminent domain, they opted out of getting federal funding. So they were able to take that land that they took from us, to sell that land to private industry. And the money that they got from selling the land, they used that money to purchase land to build Santa Rita Jail, which after taking us and moving us out of Russell City, they forced us into places like East Oakland, where I lived. We were over-policed. And of course, when the drugs dropped in our communities, well, they had a place to put us now, Santa Rita Jail. They took our land.
Tell the truth.
Facts. My God, this woman is speaking facts. Facts.
Tell the truth.
My God, I lived in Oakland. She's absolutely correct. They had a place for us. That's called prison, jail. Remember, they had that group in Oakland called the Riders. You had 7 renegade cops that were harassing black people in West Oakland, East Oakland, all over goddamn Oakland.
Tell the truth.
The schools that we had, insufficient. Old books written in. How are we supposed to get a good education? I was in the gifted program, so I had better classes, so-called. But when I moved to Oklahoma for 3 years, I learned that education was insufficient because I was put in basic classes when I got there. And I came back to California my junior and senior year, focused. I graduated at the top of my class and I went on to college, but all of my classmates who had suffered from what had been done in Russell City were not afforded that same opportunity. I say, if you want to find out how much is owed, follow the money. Start with the money they used to buy that land.
She is telling the truth.
Track it.
Tell the
and
truth.
You'll find out how to decide what it is we are owed.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming out. Thanks for your valuable comments this morning.
Let me also do this. Jonathan Kidd, thank you for coming over, brother. I appreciate your support today. Brenda Johnson, Pam Money, thank you for coming over. All of you that are coming in the chat room, she's speaking facts. I love the fact that people are willing to take the time in their schedule to watch this type of content. I know it ain't sexy. I know I'm not beefing with somebody. We're not talking about some polarizing issue in social media. This seems a little boring, but in fact, this is the type of content that we need to digest as much as the other stuff that we like to digest. It's important. I'm trying to keep you up to date as to what's going on in California with the reparations movement, because some of you don't live in California and you might hear people saying things and they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm here. And we got brothers like Emerald Media, Mass Media Group, who even more so than me, his whole channel is dedicated to the reparations movement. He's giving you up to date on what's going on. So that's a channel that you want to tap into. You see the brother in the chat room. He's modded up. He's dropping links. He's a channel. That's a channel that you definitely, the Mass Media Group, that's a channel that you want to subscribe to, because they're going to keep you tapped in 24/7 as to what's happening with the reparations movement on the ground, because that particular network is involved in it intimately in California. I've had him on the channel, so you know I'm telling you the truth. Let's continue on. I appreciate y'all. See, we got Real Aaron Collin, we got Fitness Mac, we got Cocoa Butter in here, Chica Caroline 2-star. I can never say these names correct. We got Coco T TV, Brenda King, Just Licia's in the house saying facts. She's out of Chicago, Chi-Town. Appreciate you here. Man. What a beautiful audience that we have here, gentlemen and ladies. Look, let's get back.
And your contribution. Our last speaker on the list this morning is Michael Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Michael Johnson. Marion's my sister. I am from Oakland, California. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning.
Miriam is his sister. That's the lady that's conducting the letting everyone speak. That's actually his sister, but he's got some great things to say.
This morning. Time is of the essence, so I'll be brief. Let me begin with these 3 words: Russell City apology. If you could please grab your phones. Type these 3 words into your favorite internet search engine.
I told y'all about this one
Russell
before.
City apology. During yesterday's session, you heard from expert group of economists to provide an update of the 5 harms. The first of which was unjust property taking by eminent domain. Dr. Campbell made it clear that they've been facing huge challenges putting their hands on the data needed to support the methodology they'd like to pursue. That data that they need includes 1, what happened? 2, which neighborhoods were impacted? 3, how much were those individuals paid for the land? 4, the value of that land today, so they can determine the gap between what was paid and what that land is worth today. If they had that data, they could use it to extrapolate it to other communities in California where eminent domain was used. So let's call it what it is, stealing land from Black people. Ladies and gentlemen, all the data she needs for what she described exists for Russell City.
This to you real quick. The brother breaks it down, but here's the background. Russell City, which is near Hayward, California, which is in the East Bay, not that far from the San Francisco Bay Area. It's in the Bay Area of California, in the Northern California area, not that far from Oakland. Hayward, I used to work in Hayward for about a minute too, when I lived in the East, in Oakland. It was a Black community established in 1853. Russell City was an unincorporated area in Alameda County, which Oakland is in Alameda County, located near Hayward shoreline. It's beautiful shoreline. See, they always get Black people out of areas that are beautiful, where we're next to the water, we got access to everything. And Hayward shoreline between present day Chabot College. I'm familiar with Chabot College. I know people who went to school there. Hayward Executive Airport. I know that area. In the early 1960s, Russell City, I got to read this to you folks. Russell City was put into the city of Hayward as part of a redevelopment plan. Redevelopment for Black people back in the day was just another word for Negro removal.
Tell the truth.
Let's remove Black people. Redevelopment plan that entitled the relocation of Russell City residents and businesses and rezoning property for industry development. They blighted their land. They stole it from these Black folks using legal means to do so. On November 16th, this is a damn shame. November 16, 2021, Hayward City Council voted unanimously to issue a formal apology, the city historical role in the redevelopment and pushing Black people out of this community of a racial discrimination, racial disparity impact on its past actions. The apology resolution specifically cited that Hayward participated in the redevelopment of Russell City, whose population was made up of largely African Americans, Latinos, and other people. Russell City Reparation Justice Project, RCRJP, in the city of Hayward responds to the recommendation of its Community Services Commission, which calls for the city to work with former Russell City residents and descendants to determine appropriate restitution for city of Hayward and involvement. Damn it, they need more than an apology. They need the check to be cut.
Tell the truth.
Cut the check. And this is part of this reparations movement in California. This is another example that they're going to be able to use to justify Black people getting reparations payments, whatever it may be, payments, land. I want payments in the state of California. Let's get back to the program. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I sit on the steering committee of the Russell City Reparative Justice Project. In August of last year, the city of Hayward contracted with researchers to begin collecting the very data Dr. Campbell is looking for. On Monday, March 6th, our committee will be meeting with those researchers to provide us with the data they have uncovered. Russell City holds the answers to questions the California Reparations Committee has on how to quantify the harm caused by the unjust property taking by eminent domain.
Tell the truth.
Russell City apology. Look it up.
What's up,
Thank
Brother Long?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. That
No, he told the
concludes
truth.
the folks who didn't get a chance to speak yesterday, who came out again today. So thank you very much.
He told the truth.
Chair Moore and task force members. We also have the mayor here today. This may be a good time to have the mayor, and then you can
Just a few little
decide
claps for the
how
mayor.
you want to
You know he
proceed
pandering to get votes.
following that.
So now we'll turn to special acknowledgements. I would like to introduce Mayor of Sacramento, Darrell Steinberg. Mayor Steinberg served 14 years in the state legislature and became the first Sacramentan to serve as president of the Senate in over 125 years. He authored landmark pieces of legislation, such as the Mental Health Services Act, a tax on millionaires that now produces more than $3 billion a year to fund mental health services in California, and SB 375, the first bill in the nation to require cities and counties to meet aggressive climate goals as they plan their long-term growth. After leaving the legislature,
We're going to stop that because we know how these politicians work like this, man. He's there pandering because he knows he wants to run for bigger office, and he wants black people to remember that he was in support of the reparations so that they can vote for him to be reelected as mayor of Sacramento or to run for some type of elective office in Washington, D.C., like a senator or a congressman, some riffraff like that, right? Look, let's just let's hear a little bit and we're going to bypass the nonsense. Let's hear it.
Disadvantaged communities. If government should stand for anything, it should stand for investing in communities and people who have been the victims of discrimination and disenfranchisement for far too long. For me, it ultimately comes down to a few simple things that are often hard for us to say from these positions of elected representation and power or privilege. But let me try in just my few moments. Most importantly, to my community. As your mayor, I am sorry, and I am humbled to work alongside all of you to repair our city's history of harm together.
Right. But that's what. But the mayor, come on, mayor, you're going to have to cut the damn check. See, this is the thing. Can everybody be with me here? Put a 7 in the chat room if we are tired of apologies. It is time to get away from the apologies and cut the check. Okay? Cut that check. Cut that check. Push the legislation through the government and get this reparations thing moving tangibly for black people. I'm tired of apologies, things of that nature. Save that for save that for somebody else. Because when we ask for an apology in the beginning, it takes you forever to give us the basic apology. Now you want to jump on board because you're looking for elective office and other means to sugarcoat us and say, oh, well, we've done some things here to black people in Sacramento, but yet you haven't given them any restitution. And it's money. Let's hear the nonsense, and then we're going to move away from this nonsense. Let's hear
it. And so much more. The time is now. And as one leader like you, I will continue to dig deep to learn and to work on myself.
Cut the check.
As an individual and as a leader to do.
Look, Mayor, you can work on yourself all day, all night if you want to. You can work on yourself. Go ahead and work on yourself. It still doesn't change the fact, Mayor. It still doesn't change the fact that you're going to have to cut that check. Yeah, work on yourself. You feel guilty about what's happened. Look, the mayor of Sacramento, you can tell by his name that he's Jewish. Jewish people have gotten a check cut for them 2 times over. They get a check cut from them from Germany. They're getting a check cut from them from the United States government. They're getting a check cut to them every goddamn year. And that's the truth. Time to cut our check and cut off with the nonsense.
Do this work, not for you, with you. This brings me to my next point. Government at all levels throughout history and today play a key role in the discrimination, in the disparity, in the disenfranchisement, in the disparagement of our African American communities.
Yes, that's true.
And while we as government officials and representatives must take a long overdue and active role in working to acknowledge and fully repair these harms, we must do so in a way that is not top down.
Yes.
That empowers the very people at the center of those harms, as you're hearing from over these last several days, to lead the way as true partners in the process from start to finish, not the other way around. Your report, I know, will be guided by what you're hearing from the people, and so will our work in the city. And finally, I know you know this is just a start. And what you are doing as leaders of this task force, what we are doing here today, and throughout cities across the country, it is just a start, because you can't make up for hundreds of years
Cut the damn
of
check,
discrimination
Mayor.
with one task
Cut the
force
damn
or one
check.
bill or one legislative session.
Yes,
But if
cut
we
the check.
use this as a strong beginning to build, to evolve, and adapt as we learn from one another about what works. I mean, I learned today about land. I mean, I heard today about eminent domain, something that even locally I hadn't yet thought about and focused on. That's powerful.
Right, but what are you going to do about it, Mayor?
We need to stay together, because there are going to be legal challenges.
Cut that check together.
There's going to be oppositional pushback. You can already see it coming.
Yeah, that will be.
And so this is the start, not just of the powerful ideas, but the coalition that is going to be necessary to actually get something meaningful done for our community,
Mayor.
for the African American community that has suffered for far too.
Right, Mayor. Cut the damn check. Let's stop playing around here, Mayor. You know you got to cut that check. Okay, that's the way it's going to have to work, Mayor. A check has got to be cut, ladies and gentlemen. Do you all agree with me? Hit a 7 in the chat room. Now, as the mayor went on talking and trying to prepare for his campaign by trying to pander to black people, of course, maybe he's sincere, who knows? But we know that politicians are always looking for their next job, right? And to maintain office. So they'll say whatever they got to say, because in politics, there is no permanent friends, there's no permanent enemies, there's only permanent interests. That's how politics works, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go on and see what now this is what I wanted to do. Here he is. I know this man. I have talked to this man, Dr. Amos Brown. I've had conversations with him, debates with him. He's a member of my fraternal organization, and I've had some difference of opinions about his opinions about things over the years. Haven't seen him in a while, but he is the pastor of a very well-known church in San Francisco called the Third Baptist Church. And I got to be honest, he tells a history here that I find very, very interesting. Let's hear him.
He lived in this city.
To finish.
Let me go
Thought
right
about
here.
it, focused on. That's powerful. This is a great opportunity.
Now, he's going to tell you a little history related to the first governor of California and what he did to black people. That's why this runs deep and why cut checks have to be cut. Hopefully I can get it right where he begins to talk about it. Here we go.
That you came.
Here we go. Dr. Amos Brown of Third Baptist Church. He was a board member in San Francisco too, in over there too.
And in order for me to leave this podium in good conscience, I must share with you that one might consider to be providential or coincidental. That I had in my briefcase, I didn't know you were coming today, this book entitled The Troubled Life of Peter Burnett, Oregon pioneer and first governor of California, by R. Gregory Noakes. This man This soul was so evil. He lived in this city. And as the book indicates, it's the first governor of this state. Where did he come from? Came from Nashville, Tennessee. And in 1843, he led the first wagon train westward over the Oregon Trail. And before he got to Oregon, he had already established the rule that no black or mulatto would be permitted to be a part of that wagon train. And if they were in the wagon train, they would have to be enslaved persons. And when he got to the Oregon Territory and settled that little town, Germantown, his first act of business was not how a road should be built or how a cabin should be built. It was an inhumane, evil ordinance that no blacks or mulattoes would be permitted to settle in that town. And if they were caught in that town, they would be beaten every 6 months until they left town. He didn't stop his evil there. When gold was struck in 1848, he left Oregon. But let me say parenthetically too, that ordinance stayed on the books of the state of Oregon until 1926.
Absolutely right that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was his teacher, Dr. Amos Brown. Yes, yes. Thank you, Love Life, for that statement.
Back to Sacramento. When he got down here, he got involved in politics. And to make the whole story short, and emerged to become the first governor of this state. And when he got in that governor's seat, he still wouldn't stop his racist, bigoted policies and practices. He tried to get an ordinance, a legislation, that no blacks would be able to settle in California at all. At all. Thank God he was not able to get it through. But he wouldn't stop there. He was slick and sleazy. He even emerged, after he left office in disgrace, to be on the state Supreme Court in 1857. 1857. Everybody from Mississippi out there, stand up. Stand up. 1857. In 1857, a man named Charles Stovall from my native state of Mississippi came to Sacramento to build a school and for his health. And what did Stovall do? He tried to keep one, R.C. Lee, enslaved here.
This is history.
Even though California was supposed to be a free state. Long short of it, friends, is that that case of R.C. Lee became the first civil rights case of the West. And R.C. Lee was set free only because persons at First AME Zion Church in San Francisco, along with the Baker and Broderick brothers who were abolitionists, were able to set him free. But that man, Peter Burnett, voted to send R.C. Lee back to Mississippi enslaved.
Powerful history that we're learning here. But I want to say this, ladies and gentlemen, that's Dr. Amos Brown. I want to say this. This is very important to me. Black Votron left a message in here that I also feel the same about. He says that the mayor of Sacramento is lying. Daryl Sternberg is lying. as a former legislator, he absolutely knows about the power of intimate domain and how it has destroyed. Yes, he knows because he's a politician, and politicians use that when they do redevelopment, when they want to take over land, do a land grab. They use intimate domain. They talk about it. They have meetings about it. They have conferences. Figure out how they're going to reconstruct a community or a city. He knows about it, sitting up there acting like he didn't know. He's just pandering to black people because he's going to run for mayor again. He's going to run for the governor. He's going to run for a Senate seat or a Congress seat or something like that. And he wants black people to remember that he was in support of the reparations movement so that we will vote for him. As I said before, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important to recognize. In politics, there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies, only permanent interests, okay? And that's the truth.
Tell the truth.
Let's go back to this now.
So what we need to do, I respectfully submit, we need to repute the legacy of that troubled Peter Burnett.
Yeah, get rid of all of his
and
statues.
Give an apology to black folks for all of the evil of racism and bigotry.
Once again, folks, this is where I have a difference of opinion with Dr. Amos Brown. This is where I have a difference of opinion. Yes, apologies are great, but what we need is the checks to be cut, because that man who came from Tennessee, brought all of his Jim Crow and racism with him from Tennessee to California. He harmed black people, killed black people, did the whole 9 yards, deleted black people, harmed us seriously in his methodology, enslaved us. So we need black people that are living in California whose ancestors were hurt by this renegade, racist, Tennessee first governor of California. We need more than an apology. We need checks to be cut. We need reparations, and reparations now.
Tell the truth.
That's just my opinion. How do you all feel? If you agree with me, put 7s in the chat room if you agree with what I just said. Go on, Dr. Amos Brown.
That he was able to utter and to infect this state with. I think I rest my case.
Amen. 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 I don't think I want to have the last word here. No, thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Mayor, set your hind paws down, folks. Just sit down. Just sit down. You don't want to have the last word because Dr. Amos Brown said some powerful historical things that I guess you either don't know about it, but at the same time, Black Votron is right. This whole notion that he didn't know about intimate domain and how it works, that's all nonsense. These politicians know how to manipulate that intimate domain for their redevelopment of a city to make themselves look good. Come on. Let's get back to this as he sets his hind paws down.
So public comment is formally over, but we understand that folks took the time out on a Saturday to come out. And so we will allow folks to speak until, I don't know, the person behind, I don't know, the blue. Let's try to be as brief as we can. So 1 minute-ish would be great. 1 minute and a half, because we have actual real business that we really need to take care of, but we want to make sure that folks are heard. So let's continue. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Next speaker, you have 1 minute. In fairness to everyone, please try to take 1 minute. We know what you have to say is very important to the task force. Please begin. Welcome.
What's going on, Blue Devil Geek? What's going on? Peace to you.
Los Angeles last night, y'all. Okay. So I'm going to try to make this quick. My name is Sharice Cryer, and I'm a lawyer. I've been licensed since 2006, and I've been in the reparations circle since about 2018. And one of the suggestions that I made while in the reparations circle was for the Freedmen Affairs Bureau to be reactivated. That was my concept. But no one from any organization, and neither has this task force, asked me what I meant. So we have a concept without context. Matter of fact, Reggie Jones Sawyer, I am your constituent. I have been reaching out to your office for about the past 2 months, and now we have a back and forth about what is meant by the Freedmen's Bureau. Last April, when we had the in-person hearing, I presented everyone on the task force, with the exception of Mr. Sawyer, because you were out of the country, with a concept. And it was a reparations super fund, and it included what does the Bureau of Freedmen Affairs look like, and how should it be ran? i.e., it should be ran like the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Where is the expert from the Bureau of Indian Affairs?
Facts.
Where is the local tribal expert to come and provide testimony?
Facts.
There should be no back and forth. I've given you the blueprint and the concept. Also, this is my final point. This commission has been leading with international law. To the lawyers on the task force, that's a red herring. You already have California federal law established. What does the Bureau do? What does the Bureau of Indian Affairs do? Who's on the Bureau of Indian Affairs? Who leads it? We need to stop leading with international law that is misdirecting us and giving us information that we don't need. We need to look to see what California does with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and also what it does, how it interacts with the state. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming out. Okay.
Look, that sister was correct about the red herring and misleading people with using international law. This got to do with use the laws in California to focus on what happened in California, and you use those laws. Look, there's a lot of laws on the books, but they have to be enforced. That sister is a lawyer. She knows what the hell she's talking about. And this is what I mean. It's important that you have black people like this that go to these meetings, these conferences, and they make their voices known, and they put pressure on this committee right here, this task force committee for California reparations that you see on the screen right there. It's important that you put the almighty pressure on them as much as possible. Let's get back to it, shall we?
Okay, next speaker, 1 minute, let's go.
My name is Reginald Romaine. I was here yesterday. First of all, I want to give respect to Tyreek Nichols from here, who passed away by them cops. You saw what they did to him. You know what I'm saying? But past that, independent party, that's what we need. Are you Democrats and Republicans that black people? Leave it alone. I'm going to have a sign. I'm going to have a piece of paper outside. We're going to have a new party. It's going to be called the 1619 Reparations Party. I yield back.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Henry Harry. I'm a resident of Sacramento, and I'm making some edits on the go here. So my roots go back to the state of Mississippi. Experiences of segregation, extreme fears of being black, and stories from my grandfather are about our family that reach back to the days of slavery. Here's a quick passage from a book I'm working on. Quote, "Some of my childhood memories are very good ones. They are tied to an incredible sense of connection to the land and the place we call home. Even in the oppressive atmosphere of the Deep South, a certain wholeness existed in blacks. This community bond was enhanced by another important fact. These people owned their land. Many people still lived on land that had been passed down through their family, or they had actually purchased land because the opportunity to buy it had not been pushed outside their reach. My point is this: we must not fail to see the opportunity for California, the feds, and cities like Sacramento to make reservation-style land grants part of their reparations efforts. And let's remember, this money that we're seeking, it doesn't belong to us. This money and land belongs to generations of blacks, generations who suffered rapes, beatings, children being sold, and many other barbaric acts that come up to this day.
Thank you, sir.
We have an incredible opportunity and responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out. And sir, remember to put the mic in front of you so that your words will be recorded. Thank you. You have 1 minute. Thanks. Good morning.
Wakanda forever. Take two. Madam Chair, members of the California Reparations Task Force, those of you here in the audience and then listening at home, I'm Morris Griffin. I'm better known as Big Money Griff, strong community activist, leader, and problem solver.
Yesterday, I didn't get a chance to say the one thing that I wanted to say, and that is yearly installments. We are demanding $5,000 every single month to the day we die. Now, either we can do that every 2 months or every month is what you decide. But that's where I'm coming from straight out. And when we talk about the national reparations, we talk about the task of all the different cities that was massacred because we were thriving.
Thank you, sir.
Already?
I'm sorry. Thank you. The task force heard your second point. Very clear. Thank you so much.
What I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, I think the brother, this is what I mean. Black people, we get an opportunity to talk. We're not used to getting this attention. When cameras come in our face or some kind of situation like this, we want to go into the dramatics. You saw he got up there and he did this whole thing, take two. He was wasting time with all of that. Enough of the dramatics and the theatrics, like you're filming a movie, and go into it. If he would have cut down all the dramatics and talk, he could have completed what he was trying to say. I feel what the brother is saying. I agree with him to the day we die. But black people, we got to get out of this dramatics. We got to get out of this acting like we're auditioning for an opportunity to get a movie contract or something. This right here, he wasted a lot of time with this.
On today, we really appreciate your patience, everyone.
Outside their reach. Generations who suffered.
Thank you, sir.
Generations who suffered rapes, beatings, children being sold, and many other barbaric acts that come up to this day.
Thank
we have
you,
an
sir.
incredible opportunity and responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out. And sir, remember to put the mic in front of you so that your words will be recorded. Thank you. You have 1 minute. Thanks. Good morning.
Wakanda forever.
See, all of that dramatics. No, I'm sorry, folks. Y'all don't get mad at me for what I'm about to say. All that dramatics, Wakanda forever, that ain't got nothing to do with our reparation. Wakanda is a fictional place in a comic book and a movie. See, all that, he wasting his Wakanda forever, all of that. No, man. You're wasting time with all the damn dramatic. See, he wasted a lot of time with this nonsense right here.
Take two.
What the hell? Okay, look. I appreciate this brother right here. This is him on, I think on Friday the 3rd. I appreciate this brother and have a lot of respect for him for coming out and speaking his mind. That's important. But you could tell he was a little upset when his time ran out. And I'm just saying, get rid of the dramatics and all the theatrics. Cut all that out, all that conduct forever crap and all of this. Take one. You just wasted time. They're only giving you a minute. You could have said more if you had to cut out all the pop and circumstance. Wasn't necessary. It wasn't. Everybody got a kick out of it, but it ain't necessary. Black folks, we spend way too much time trying to be entertainers instead of getting right to the damn point. See, he's taking a lot of time. He's taking his
Madam
breath.
Chair,
Okay.
members of the
He's being respectful. I appreciate that from the brother.
Reparations Task Force.
But let me stop it right there and move it to when he was told that was it for him. He wasn't happy. And here we go.
On today, we really appreciate your patience, everyone. Thank you. Next speaker, please come forward.
You could tell that he wasn't happy, and I feel for the brother because he had something to say. But if they're only giving you 1 minute to speak, you got to cut out the movie dramatics and stuff like that. You just got to cut that out and get right to the point. Let's continue to the next sister that's coming up, everybody. Peace to you.
And please, next speaker, please come forward and turn the mic. Make sure you're speaking into the mic. You have 1 minute. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, all. My name is Phoenix Star, and I'm from Inglewood, California. And I am here to appeal to the mass media and social media to communicate correct information about our quest for California reparations. While California was not a slaveholding state, it acted as one. So, for those who need clearer understanding supported by data and facts, read the first report submitted by California DOJ. This will explain how and why we as freemen require and deserve repair from policies that have hurt and harmed us historically up to present. Look around you and you will see in real time the manifestation of these policies. And as Marcel Dixon says, fix Black America, you fix America. Peace and blessings to you all. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. Yeah. Good morning. My name is Lloyd Kelly. I'm from New Orleans. I'm going to try and make this short. I know there are two members of the California Congressional Black Caucus. Two members of the California Legislative Black Caucus are on this panel. There are 12 members of the California Legislative Black Caucus. This is supposed to be the last meeting, public meeting. Where the hell are those other members of the of the California Legislative Black Caucus? Because they're the ones that are going to be voting on this. Where are they? As we said yesterday, California, there's been two things that have happened to us that are very important. One is emancipation. Number two is going to be reparations that California comes up with. Where the hell are the Congressional Black Caucus members? We have no leadership. We've been standing up here telling you, but y'all don't have the vote in Congress or in the legislature. I'm from New Orleans, and when we had this little flood, or this little thing called Hurricane Katrina, Ray Nagin said, Mr. President, bring your ass down here. I'm saying Congressional Black Caucus members and California Congressional legislative members, bring your ass down here to these meetings today.
Thank you for coming out.
With that, I yield my time.
Thank you. All right, next speaker.
He said, bring your ass. Woo. Hey, he's right though. He is right. You notice he was nervous. He kind of was mixing up the Congressional Black Caucus with the California he was a little nervous there, but he's right. They need to bring their behinds to these task force meetings that are open to the public when he's right. They're the ones who are going to have to vote on this and push this forward for reality. But you got some of these black politicians out here, folks, who ain't worth a bag of fries. They don't do nothing for you. And make sure you catch my show this week, because I'm about to talk about a particular black politician who made a you-know-what out of himself. And it's very revealing, that show that I'm going to do. It'll be a short show. But I got to be honest, the brother was right. And he was emotional, but he was right about what he was saying. He was right.
Please come forward. You have 1 minute.
Tell the truth.
Please come forward. Come to the mic. Thank you. Good morning.
Uh-oh, here come the white dude.
Thank you.
Oh, good morning. I'm going to try and put sort of a mixed message across here real quick. First of all, things like land taking or LA County shuffling around underperforming teachers to black schools, that needs to change. That needs to stop. At the same time, this commission's talked about repealing equal protection laws in California and given cash grants to people to buy homes or to support businesses. And that's a 14th Amendment issue. You'd have to repeal the 14th Amendment first, and that's done so much for black folks, for folks of all races, religious minorities. Gay people can get married because of the 14th Amendment. That's standing in your way. I'm sorry. If you want to hand out money like that. So what I'm saying is either you do it in a race neutral way, fixing schools, fixing eminent domain, or you
Do y'all see what this is all about? Once again, this white boy is trying to get into this whole talk about, well, it's going to be against the 14th Amendment. Now, what he fails to realize, the 14th Amendment wasn't really meant for gay people and all these other groups. The 14th Amendment, when you listen to someone like Dr. Anderson, Claude Anderson, all these amendments in this country were designed and were to solve our issues. The 14th Amendment was meant for the lineage group of people in this country called Black people. It was created for us. Other groups simply jumped on the coattails of these laws to benefit themselves, but these laws were never meant for them. They were meant for us. And it's just another way to say, we don't want to give you cash. No, you guys shouldn't deserve. What he had said this, if it was Jewish people who were looking for cash payments or Japanese, it's funny how everybody else can get what they want. Nobody has a problem with it. Black people are demanding for something that we needed, and they want to throw all these. Well, the 14th Amendment was originally meant for Black people in the first place. All these other groups just jumped on tail. Let's get back to this.
You listen to the people here. You just hand out money. You get your ass handed to you in court, and it sets everything back, and it shows just how ridiculous and shameful that whole endeavor is.
Now, did anybody have a problem with money being handed out to Japanese people that were put in camps? Did anybody in this country or this world have a problem with the Jewish community receiving reparations for what happened to them in the Holocaust? Huh? Has anybody had a problem with that? No. And would he be sitting up there complaining about that? No. You're going to have these type of individuals that want to come amongst us and throw a monkey wrench or some other bullshit into the mix. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You've heard everybody in this conference today say, these are Black people who pay taxes in California. And one person said today, or is going to say, we pay more sales tax than anybody because we're the biggest consumers in the state. Now, he sat up there in this audience and heard everyone tell those stories about how their family got ripped off, about Russell City, all the islands work, all these things, and he hears all of that, but still says, you're going to get your butt kicked if you guys give out money. Didn't people come up there and say they're looking for reparations and cash payments, land, education, all different types of things? Let's get back to it.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, get your ass out of here. That's all you got. Get out of here.
Next
Why is she
speaker,
even clapping
you
for
have
him?
1
Get
minute.
the hell out of here.
Good morning.
That warrants an extra 30 seconds or so. So I hate to be an alarmist, but here's the alarm, right? I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please go
So
ahead.
Here's the alarm that I want to give, right? Right now, the task force is considering the Freedmen's Bureau, right? The future of the Freedmen's Bureau. Will it be an organization that writes a letter to I guess other organizations and departments says, hey, you're doing a bad job? Or will it be a serious organization that is going to be Black Americans in charge of their own repair? In the same way that Professor Lewis said, hey, we have to do something here. We have to understand and recognize these people's self-determination. I hope your vote will reflect that today. In the same way that Lisa Holder talked about how she's faced medical racism, guess what? We're going to need a Freedmen's Bureau to fight that. In the same way that Tamaki believes that reparations is somehow going to end all racism, and that's the goal, I hope his vote will reflect a robust Freedmen's Bureau, because we need an organization that's going to fight for us. We cannot depend on these nonprofits. We cannot depend on shadowy organizations like the ones that Cheryl Grills hired that funnel $500,000 to God knows where. Don't smile at me, Cheryl. It is true. And if it is not true, Cheryl, you should call for an investigation. You should call for an investigation right now and make a motion. You will not, because you are scared.
Your time is up, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next speaker. You have 1 minute, please, and speak into the mic. Good morning. You may begin.
That's going to be hard to follow up. What's up, everybody? Thank you to the task force members who've been doing their thing thus far. Camilla, you know, number one up here. I'm gonna make it real quick. First off, this bit with the communication firm is a grave mistake. People have talked about it, we know it, but we actually have to fix it. There's not enough people in this room and there's not enough people who are aware of what's going on. And we need those people to galvanize once we're in our next phase of this. We need folks in the streets. I'm happy about the lineage-based. We already know that's past tense. We know who this is for. Let's make sure in the final report, the language reflects that so there's no room for questions. I'm throwing my support behind an independent agency, not an oversight board, not a commission. We have to do this for us. There's no one else who's going to have to be able to push this through like we can. We need our own power to do this ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please come forward. You have 1 minute. Good morning.
Hello, my name is Courtney McKinney. I live here in Sacramento, and I have 2 likely imperfect points, but my intention is to contribute in the spirit of help, healing, accessibility, and productivity. The first is that we shouldn't be paying taxes. Our ancestors were violently forced in West Africa to build this economy for free for over 200 years and then terrorized for 100 more and counting. Our taxes have been paid, and we are still owed a significant debt. California should immediately suspend tax collection for Black people, especially considering how the state continues to oppress Black people using tax money through policing and debt collection. We shouldn't be paying for that. Suspending taxes for Black people in Cali won't break the budget since we constitute a small fraction of the population, and it provides a model for options at the federal level, which is needed since Black people are audited and harassed by the IRS at disproportionately high rates, stripping more wealth. This is an actual beginning for the path that America needs to take to begin to repay its debts. The second request I have is for public talking points and in general for this process to be made much more accessible. Please give us talking points, maybe 5 max, that synthesize the priority points of why reparations are needed in a simple, digestible way, easy enough to talk to with children. Examples might be that there's precedent for reparations, like for example, when the US paid victims of Japanese internment. Another might be bullet points for the proposed options and rationale for reparations eligibility. These are just examples and could be a great way to engage the public as has been spoken about as needed. So please help us help you. Thank you.
All right, folks, we're getting close to conclusion, but I want to read what my man, Street Media TV, you know him as George Makem, says. If we have to ask that question, we already lost. If we ain't funding our own people, we're going to get screwed. This is what Brother George Makem of Street Media TV said. Good point. I have to agree with him. And Brother Votron's been making some good points in the chat room. He says, actually, that brother was absolutely correct about member guilds. Interesting. Good night, everybody. That's for good night. We're almost finished, folks. Judah Queen says good night and B1. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Thank you for coming over. Let me see. Tax exemption. Tax exemption needs to be beginning immediately. Yeah, I agree with tax exemption should start immediately. You're absolutely right. Drake Miller, what's going on, man? Thank you for coming over and joining us in the chat room. He's saying salute to me. I appreciate that. We got Alan Christian in the house saying it's up to us Blacks to take care of us. Cut the check. I agree. All right.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out today. Next speaker.
We're almost close to conclusion.
Come out. You have 1 minute. You may begin.
Okay. Hi, my name is Nazinga Griffin, and I would like to first thank the task force for choosing lineage-based reparations eligibility. I want to request the final proposal be specific, not BIPOC, not POC, not universal, not race-based, not disadvantaged, not marginalized communities, and not all Black people, but specific, just like your decision was a year ago in March. Please make sure that your language in the final proposal is lineage specific. Also, for the communications firms, please do better. There's not enough people here. We haven't seen the commercials. The 2 that you played definitely did not appear to be anything near $1 million spent. And then also I am in full support of no oversight committee, but the agency that we've been talking about for months now. We need the Freedmen's Agency, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank thank you, Gene, for leaving this. You said this about San Francisco, and I'm very familiar about San Francisco because I went to high school, college there, lived there a good part of my life. The city of San Francisco proposes debt forgiveness in their reparations plan, mortgage and credit cards, student loans. Yeah, but this is the key though about San Francisco and their proposal. You can't just move there and say, la la, I'm black, I moved here, I'm going to get the, you have to be a resident in San Francisco, I believe, for over 10 or 20 years. You can't just be somebody who moved there like yesterday. There's criteria to this that they're going to put in place. And I think one of them is that you have to be a long-term resident with some history in that city. And I got history in that city, my mom. So anyway, let's move on. I appreciate you all being here. We're almost finished.
Speaker, please come forward. Good morning, sir. And you have 1 minute. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bentley Callender, and I am an insurance broker. I started school in Compton, California, and I finished school here in Sacramento, California. I am non-FBA, but I do want to iterate that if you're not of the FBA lineage, you do not qualify for reparations, and the reparations need to start with FBA. Along with that, the other problem is white supremacy, and all Blacks need protection and by the law. The laws are already in place. They just need to be enforced, because we know what's going to happen when the money starts to come into FBA. We know what white supremacy is going to do. So Black people need to be protected, and don't muddy the waters with everything else that's being brought in. It just needs to start with FBA. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good morning. All right, next speaker.
Hello, my name is Elmer Fonza, and I'm here to talk about Nelson Bell, one of the few African-American owners during the gold rush in Coloma, California. Nelson came to California by Mr. Bell in 1850 as a slave and was given his freedom shortly after. In 1856, as a free, Nelson Bell purchased several parcels of land, approximately 11 plus acres, in and around the town of Coloma, where he worked driving a water wagon and mining for gold. Nelson Bell passed away in 1869. At the time, his land and personal property was put into probate. Personal property was later sold by the probate administration, but the sale of his land was not recorded in the probate. The land owned by Nelson Bell is now part of the California State Park. We have historical records and documents from a certified genealogist and information from Ancestry.com that indicates our kinship to Nelson Bell. He is in fact my third generation grandfather.
Sir, I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for that historical information, and feel free to submit your comments to reparations task force at doj.ca.gov. Thank you again for taking your time to come out. Next commenter, welcome.
Peace to the tribe, peace to my ancestors. Lineage-based reparations for sure. And definitely this Freedmen Banking Bureau and this whole movement that they have going on, we just don't believe it. You know, they stole money from Black Americans before.
That's a good point. One of your concerns is that reparations, whether it's federal or by the state or the city, they need to protect the identity of the recipients. I agree with that. Very good point. There's so much that they're going to have to consider. But let's hear what this brother is saying.
They stole money from Black Americans again. And honestly, some of the representatives out here, I know the advertisement is not going too well with you all because we don't hear nothing from you all. But as far as Freedmen goes, ones like Marcel Dixon, or actually his name's Dixon Marcel from now on, because he betrayed his people, and he's in Chicago promoting white candidates, over Black American candidates, and he's online trolling, and he's talking, all types of mess about people. So, forget him. He's a traitor. Now, as far as Naheem, this guy goes by the name of Lord Abba. He was telling black people, he was promoting to black Americans to get the jab, basically just sending a curse on everybody. And I don't know what that guy's talking about. I really don't know what he's talking about. No one should be listening to him, and he represents the Freedmen Party. So, and if you think the grassroots are playing about the Freedmen movement, ask Gabriel Pamonte in Chicago. So thank you, Chicago, and peace to the tribe.
Sir, thank you. All right, next speaker. Good morning. You have 1 moment.
We got all, let me just say this because I had my mic muted and I'm sorry about that. What that brother is saying to me is irrelevant to what's happening with the California Task Force and what black people want here in California. He named 2 people, Marcellus Dixon. These guys, these brothers don't even live in California, and whatever personal beef he has with them, it has nothing to do with the task of reparations here in California. And most of this stuff comes out of the fact that people are in their different tribes. So you got FBA, you got ADOS, you got people who say, hey, I'm a freedman. We got all these different tribes. Everyone's in their different tribes when the focus should be singly on reparations. That's the main thing you should be focusing on outside of all these little tribal issues. Because when you look at if you look at the continent of Africa, why is Africa has the problems that it has? Because of tribalism. Tribalism can be good on one hand because you want to be on code with your own people, but it also can destroy you when you singularly should be focusing for what the purpose is. We need to get out of these little tribal issues, because these tribal issues are going to muddy the water for what the real goal is, and that's the reparations. Let's get back to this.
Good morning. My name is Russell Clark, 4th generation resident of Oakland, California, born and raised, town business in the building. I just want to come here as a representative of the Clark family, 2nd generation skilled tradesman, elevator escalator worker, mechanic, and I just want to bring the focus back to why we're having this reparation task force. The whole purpose is because us, descendants of slaves, foundational Black Americans, were purposely and deliberately attacked at our land, our people. We were stolen, destroyed, and killed. The whole purpose of this is to bring our families the proper reparations we need, and that's a check from the Franchise Tax Board, #1, with all the rest of the parts of reparations. I want to thank you for the time and appreciate you for hearing me now. And please, I know you guys are stressed out, probably being attacked by white supremacists. I can't even imagine. But please, you are on the precipice of doing the right thing for not only for foundational Black Americans here in California, but for all of us in the United States of America. Thank you.
Say peace and respect to Angelica. Thank you for coming over. I see you, my sister. I see everybody. And we got another person that I want to give some respect for, because this brother comes over and gives me a lot of support when he has a chance to, and that's JW. You see JW, he's got the cool dashiki on in his avatar. He says super facts. I want to say appreciate you, brother. Another person I want to give a lot of kudos to is my brother CBN Tech Talks. What's going on, my brother? Deborah Guns, who super chatted me today. Golden Melanin, who's been rocking with us. Island Christian. Black Votron has really been putting it out there tonight. Street Media TV, thank you. Real Aaron Collins, I see. Hey, Aaron Collins, I've been checking you out on Facebook, man. You out there in LA. I think you went to the NAACP Awards. You met some of the celebrities out there. I know you do work in the entertainment business, but I've seen some of your pictures with some of the celebrities and directors and writers of some of our motion pictures and TV shows. And keep doing your thing, brother. It looked like you had a great time at that event. And then we got Jill's Chocolate Boutique. who I thank you for coming over always and supporting the channel. Let me move forward because I've already taken up a lot of y'all time today because we're getting close to the conclusion of this. We got about, let's continue.
All right, next speaker. Thank you very much.
My name's Michael Crockett.
You can adjust the mic
My
closer.
name's Michael Crockett. I moved here, I jotted down a few things where we are. Where we are right now is that, yes, it's hard to get a job. If a person, I've heard a lot of comments and it brings up a lot. Where we are right now is we have issues. I think the panel, the task force, and I regret that I have not had the time to follow it as closely as some others. But so we are interdependent and relied on each other to keep ourselves in the know. I think if we're going to give reparations, and it should be money, I think the task force should consider some work. This might not go over so well. But this, and I've heard many of the comments, one would be that eligible people would have to be educated, have some financial responsibility, education, maybe a short course, just to inform them of the pitfalls. We've heard about how people will be taken to court. We've heard about how land is grabbed. There are some slickers and they will just bleed you dry. And we've heard about lottery winners who lose money.
Sir, thank you. Thank you so much for that important point. I know it goes fast. I'm so sorry, but
And
please,
thank you. I'd like to thank the task force for the job you're doing and making this forum available for us citizens to get a chance to let you.
thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. You may begin.
Good morning. Yet again, I'm here to keep this process honest. Yesterday, after I left from speaking, I heard someone from the Department of Justice tell what I believe to be untruths, saying that they have no data on the discrimination against my people in this state. This is ridiculous. They don't know how many people are in their jails. They don't know how many warrants were issued, citations were issued, how many convictions are made. They don't know who's in those prisons. It's time to end the lies and the bullshit, right? And that's part of the process. It's called justice, reparations, justice, right?
Wow,
and
folks,
so
y'all hear this?
coming in here and telling lies from the Justice Department that they don't know what's happening in their state, that has to end. And so I'm out on that. I got to keep this honest.
Thank you. There's six more people. So please come forward. You have 1 moment. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is LaDonna Williams. Thank you so much for taking the time to address this important issue. I want to say, first of all, that our people deserve this $5 million now. As you are going through all of these processes and adding on more processes, you could benefit the people who have been harmed the most by paying out right now. Then that gives us the resources to work with you to move this issue forward. Yesterday, Richmond got up here and said they were going to follow Evanston. Evanston is not reparations. Richmond already has a homeownership program given $25,000. That doesn't work when the average.
Now, how many of you in the chat room by hitting a 7? I know Just Alicia's is from Chicago. How many of you are familiar with the so-called reparations package in Evanston, which is in Chicago area? And they were trying to sell it as a reparation. Put a 7 in the chat room if you are familiar with or heard about the Evanston situation in Chicago, I think a couple of years ago, where they were trying to claim that it was reparations for black citizens who used to live in the community or have gotten pushed out of the community. And turned out that wasn't a real reparations program. It was basically a housing program to get them back into housing and do restitution to their housing in the condition that the housing was in at a price that was still, for some people, not, I think even Tone Talks talked about this on his channel. Put a 7 so people in the chat room are familiar with the Evanston. I'm telling you right now, folks, that's why I like what this lady is saying right now. She doesn't want them to put a banana in the tailpipe on us, because the Evanston is not a blueprint of reparations. It's a housing program to get you in housing, to fix your housing up, to make opportunity for black. It's an opportunity to get you in housing, but it ain't reparations, technically. Let's get back to this. She made very good points here. I'm going to move it back just a little bit, and here we go.
Here and telling lies from the Justice Department that they don't.
When will you have the ordinary people, who are the valuable people, here on your panel as experts? We are the experts. You are here as an advisory board. You really have no power either. The people have the power. And when we recognize that, we're going to hold each one of you all accountable. And we appreciate the work you did, but Grills, we haven't forgotten you. Tamaki, we haven't forgotten you. Sawyer, we haven't forgotten that you all voted against Lineage.
Thank you so much
We
for
are the
coming out
people,
today.
and we will take
Thank
our
you.
recommendations. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to come out today.
And this is what she's saying. These are the people that are part of this board. Tanaki, who looks like he may be Japanese or he's Asian, they said that he voted against the Lineage. So some of these folks on this board, this is in the beginning process because it's already been voted. It's already law that it has to be Lineage. But in the beginning of this process in California with the California Reparations Task Force, some of the members of this task force that you see on that board right now, let's keep it real. These are some of the members right here. Some of them weren't rocking with the idea of a lineage-based only. I think this brother Scott Lewis wasn't really rocking. I might be wrong, but I think Scott Lewis, this brother might have been one of the ones that was sort of talking against the whole lineage thing. I don't know. I don't want to tag him, but I'm just saying, let's hear that again. I want to hear what she said again before she left. Let's hear it. Let's hear before she left. Let's hear what she said about, she called someone out. Let's hear it again.
Richmond already has a homeownership program given $25,000. That doesn't work. When the average home here is $600,000, you're giving us enough to fail. So understand this, that is not reparations. And second of all, when will you have the ordinary people, who are the valuable people, here on your panel as experts? We are the experts. You are here as an advisory board. You really have no power either. The people have the power. And when we recognize that, we're going to hold each one of you all accountable. And we appreciate the work you did, but Grills, we haven't forgotten you. Tamaki, we haven't forgotten you. Sawyer, we haven't forgotten that you all
Thank
voted
you so
against
much.
Lineage.
Thank you so much
We
for
are the
coming out
people, and
today.
we will take
Thank
our
you.
recommendations. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to come out today.
So what you're really hearing is that you had some people originally who weren't rocking with the whole issue of lineage, but then they ended up having to do it because California has strict laws around these issues. Let's continue as we're getting close to a conclusion, folks. We only have probably about 7 minutes left of the video. Let's get back to it.
All right, next speaker. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Melissa Muganzo, pronouns she, they, sis. Knowing that race is a social construct and made up and has been and continues to be resold to us, I wanted to make sure that I speak up for all Black identified and Black Indigenous people who have been marginalized, suppressed, and harmed by living in and navigating the Black experience. As someone born in Florida, born to African and West Indian parents, my experience, along with theirs, has been one of intentional discrimination and severe forms of medical racism, xenophobia, employment practices, housing policy, redlining, business loans, police brutality, and education. And
Tell
as
the
we
truth.
consider reparations, let's be sure to not forget all the Black people that have been impacted by the racist practices of the United States, including loss of tracking their lineage due to intentional white supremacy packages. Thank you so much for your time and your sacrificial, historic time in taking on this matter. We appreciate you and we thank you.
Next commenter. Thank you very much for speaking to the mic, and you have one moment.
Wait a minute. I got to get y'all ready for this brother right here. Woo! Woo! Man, he about to get ready to go off. Man, this brother right here that you about to see, he's about to go ham on them. He's going to be like, reparations now, reparations forever. Woo, man. Let's get ready for it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready for it.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Yeah, my staff told me we have a minute and a half. I won't be brief. I will be brief. First of all, I said it before, I'll say it again. I love you folks, and you folks are doing a tremendous job. I know the pressure you're under. God bless you. And you're doing a tremendous job, but there's some things you need to know. First of all, again, I say $223,000 is not enough. $250,000 is not enough. $500,000 is not enough. What you need to do, and you need to act now. Let me simplify all this for you. This is something you can act on now. The government has a quadrillion pieces of property worth quadrillions of dollars. That's above trillions. Act now and tell them to release our money now through assets and property. You can do that right now as I'm speaking today, and then we can get straight the money later. And we pay more taxes than everybody else. Stop this. We pay taxes too. As a group, we pay more taxes than anybody else. How? We're the #1 spending group in America.
Remember
we
I
pay
said that?
more sales taxes because of that than anybody. So give us our money now.
Stop it right there. That's what I had mentioned before, that somebody on this over this weekend at this task force meeting, it was this brother right here who said, give us our money now, because we're spending more on taxes than anybody else, especially sales tax, because black people, unfortunately, we spend a lot of money on all this personal recreational stuff, you know, going to the store, buying clothes, buying the Nike shoes and all that sort of stuff, which I got to be honest with y'all, all that money that black people spend on all this fashion and Nike shoes and all this stuff and all the Xboxes and shit, half the money that we've given to these companies, okay, man, all that wealth that we've given to these companies, he's absolutely right. And Angelica, you asked, what is the credentials of these people? A lot of these people that's on this board, like an Amos Brown. Amos Brown is a well-known pastor, preacher. He runs one of the biggest churches in San Francisco, Third Baptist. He also was on the board of advisors in San Francisco politics. So he's been involved in politics for a while now. He was a board member in San Francisco in their government. I think he still is a board member over there. So he has some ties politically. All these different people have ties politically. And these are people that work in politics, people that have been in government, what have you. But really, what the sister said a little bit earlier, which I think sounds a lot better, is that they really should have people from the community as a part of this board. That would be a great way. If you agree with me, put a 7 in the chat room. They should have people from the community that should be a part of this task force, because the people from the community will keep these people who got the PhDs behind their name, who got the politician background behind their name, who have the background of being a part of this board and that board. If you had some real down-to-earth people on this task force, it could keep them all in check to make sure that there's no nonsense. So if you agree with me, they should have, put a 7 in the chat room if you agree that they should have real people from the community who should make up the board with all these bourgeoisie folks that's on this board.
Tell the truth.
Let's keep it real. We're almost finished, folks. Let's get back to it. We're almost finished.
We want our money now.
Thank you.
We want our assets now.
Yes!
Thank you very much. Next speaker, we have.
I agree with him.
Please come forward. Good morning.
Committee. My name is Michael Hunt. I now reside in Seattle, Washington. Born in Oakland, 1956. I've been listening to comments. I've been listening to people. I've been hearing recommendations. I'm going to say this. If my people who call by my name would humble themselves and pray, Seek his face. Turn from your wicked ways. God said he would heal the land. I'm speaking for the people I saw on the 10 as I drove to this building. Lines, those voices are silent, but they're out there. There's tents in Washington. Board, we got to start somewhere. $5 million would go a long way. Then we can go back and pick up some of the people on the street. We don't need the government to do it. We as a people need to do it. I represent Jesus Christ. I don't care what color you paint him. Jesus is the Son of God. He gave his life. Now we turn back to God. He said he will heal this land. I'm standing on his word, people. We need to humble ourselves. Committee.
Angelica, no, they can't. They should not be trusted. That's why the people are speaking out at this task force that happened in Sacramento, California on March 3rd and 4th, just this weekend. Today is Sunday. It happened Saturday, the second day. The first day was Friday. No, we can't trust them because that's why people are talking and keeping them in check. But I think the best way you could check this whole thing is that you should have people from the community, like community activists, who should be on that task force. And not just people that are in the know, not just people that come from the bourgeoisie class, not just people because they were a member of this board or that board. It should be some people that come from the community to keep them in check. I'm going to hold to that. Now, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe some of these folks do come straight from the community as activists, but I'm telling you, I think the majority of these people on this board are connected. And however they're connected, I'm saying I don't think they've got anybody on this board. Now, I'm going to say that Mrs. Moore, Sister Moore, who's to your far left corner, look at your far left corner, Sister V. Moore. From what I understand, she's well respected on this board and people like her and she's real. But we'll see what happens. Like I told you, they've got to around June or July to come up with their final findings and where they're going to go with the reparations movement in California. And once again, it could be a blueprint for the rest of the country if it's successful here in California. So far, we've got something going a lot more further along than any other state right now. We're doing better than what they're doing in the federal government. They're not doing anything in the federal government. Let me do it with a show of ones in the chat room. Put a one in the chat. No, let me do this. Hang on. Put a one in the chat room if you've heard anything about the so-called study in the reparations bill that's happening in the federal government. What's going on with the study? They haven't told us anything. Let alone have they allowed regular, everyday black folks to come up there and talk to them about what they're doing wrong. No, you're not seeing anything from the federal government. Those black folks are sleeping on this reparations bill. You got Clyburn, that every time someone confronts him about reparations, he wants to run away. He wants to get away. He wants to separate. And then he sat up there, put all that shine and all that raccooning on Joe Biden, who told me and you that if we didn't vote for him, we ain't black enough. A white man, Joe Biden, tells black people that we ain't black if we don't vote for him, and we've been black all our lives. Are you crazy? Let's get back to it, shall we?
God is writing everything that's being said, and he's going to write down what you guys do from this point on.
Thank you.
You
Thank
will
you, sir.
stand before God at the end of the day, as all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out. Our last two speakers, good morning. Please come on down.
Spread the word, spread the word.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Don't worry about your clothes. Don't worry about the rent. Spread the word. Spread the word, spread the word. So my time is just now starting. Forgive me, but said spread the word. It's a song I had written. Y'all see Brother around the town with the Jesus sign? Well, that's it. That's his song. Okay. So residual effects of slavery. The book this thick out there, right? That y'all wrote, y'all read or whatever. Giving honor.
I'm sorry, folks. Thank you. Don't think for telling me that I was muted. What I was basically saying when I was muted, and I'm sorry about being muted. What I was basically trying to say is, you heard the brothers singing and all of that. We got to get out of the dramatics. We don't have time for putting on a dramatic show, drama, singing and dancing and all of that. That's what people think of us as, singers and dancers. He's wasting a lot of time singing and all of that when he should just get right to the point. We don't need dramatics. There's no talent scouts in that building looking to put you on a reality show. There ain't no music scout looking to give you a record deal, man. You're supposed to just go there and speak. All that singing and dancing, all that, we don't need that. It's wasting time. They're only giving you a minute to speak, and you're singing and dancing. What the hell is that about?
You need to act now.
We got to start somewhere.
Okay, so residual effects of slavery. The book this thick out there.
Sales taxes because of that.
We got to start somewhere. $5 million would go a long way. Then we can go back and pick up some of the people on the street. We don't need the government and say it, and he's not.
Please come on down.
See, here we go.
All right.
We
Thank you,
don't
sir.
need dramatics.
Don't worry about the rent. Spread the word, spread the word, spread the word. So my time is just now starting. Forgive me, but said spread the word. It's a song I had written. Y'all see Brother around the town with the Jesus sign? Well, that's it. That's his song. Okay, so residual effects of slavery. The book this thick out there, right? That y'all wrote, y'all read or whatever. Giving honor to God. I got a small prayer. Hallelujah. Thank you. Yes. So we need residual pay, right? We need residual pay. I don't know how much money is in the trust fund already for the payments or whatever, but as soon as the money drops, there needs to be programs established from interest, from investment, so that residual payment can be made. Because when people are in third world conditions, third world things happen. They do third world things. And then we need easy access. Start reaching out to everybody eligible.
Now, when he starts talking like this, he's sounding like he's sound, he's focused. Just cut out all the dramatics and the singing stuff. We don't need that, brother, because that's eating up your time to speak. He's making good points here about identifying people. Let's continue.
Of course, on the state level, we're gonna be like a pillar state, an example, and then let it be example for other states, and the federal level for reparations where reparations are due, and then tax exempt land. We need land. We pay more rent. We pay more money than anybody else. We pay.
That is true.
They call us liquid money. The Jews call colored people liquid money because money runs through our hands like water. Because we run to everybody else with our money. For us,
boom. He is so right. Give him a clap. I have to agree with what he just said there. That money is running through our hands like liquid to everybody else. He's right. See, when you just stay focused on the issues and cut out the dramatics, you come off a lot stronger in your argument.
To have our own lands tax exempt, so we're not constantly paying rent, because there was a campaign out, excuse my French, rent is too damn high. We need our own land.
Right, rent is too damn high.
We put in a lot of work. I know I have. You see my hands. I'm a certified mechanic, CDL. I need work as a CDL too. I got a truck sitting about across the street. Okay, my name is Patrick Blackshire, founder of Foundation of Future Success. I have a flyer for each one of y'all. And if y'all have business cards, please provide that.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Please submit your written comments to Reparations Task Force at doj.ca.gov. But thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. Next speaker, our last speaker of the day. Good morning.
Greetings, everyone. Peace and love. Blessings to everyone from the Garifuna Nation. To the Reparations Task Force, thank you for the work that you're doing. To those who are up there, we fear that you're doubting the people that are here. Who you're dealing with here today are the real ones.
Yes.
Every last individual in this building right now, and we will
Tell the truth.
exemplify it to you in a second with the power of the fist in the air when we ask for those who are the real ones.
Yes.
So as you consider what you need to consider two things. The real ones are not seeking autonomy. The real ones are seeking self-determination. Self-determination. So as you consider what you're considering, if there is not self-determination in it, you're failing the people. So now, to the real ones. Where they at? Right here. The real ones. Where they at? Right here. The real ones. Where you at? Right here.
Thank you, sir.
Do not doubt the real ones.
Thank you.
Because they are here.
Thank you.
Ashe
Thank
to
you.
our ancestors. Ashe to our ancestors. And the most honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey said that we are a Unitarian particle of the universal intelligence.
Thank you.
Ashe.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to everyone. That concludes our public comments this morning. Thank you.
Tell the truth.
All right, everybody. Let me see. We have 411 and 411 who's known me for a while, been following my channel for years now. Good to see you, sister. She says, is this only going to happen? Let me see. What else did you write? Let me see. What's going on, Jonathan Kidd? I see you back. I know that people are going over to, I think my man Honor is probably getting ready to go live if he hasn't already gone live. I'm about to end this in just a moment. So I know for folks who want to go check out his live, stick with me for about a minute because I'm about to end this. What's going on, Jonathan Kidd? Thank you for coming over, as I know people are going to be checking out his stream. And 411 Ann, thank you. I know you're from the Bay Area. Thank you for coming in, and share this in your community tab on your channel. Those of you who have channels, share this in your community tab, share this in your social media so that more people can see the video, because it does help the channel, because it helps people to discover me, because you know that YouTube shadow bans these type of channels. You know it. They don't want me talking and giving you this type of truth, right?
Tell the truth.
Or hearing black people stand up. They rather promote channels where people are fighting back and forth, beefing with one another, where you have situations where black men and black women are fighting against each other. That's what they're going to promote. That's what they push through the algorithms. This thing about reparations, YouTube ain't going to push this through the algorithms like it should be. They're going to try to minimize it. And that's why we need folks like yourself to shoot it through your social media so that people can watch it, because YouTube is just not going to promote this like they should. They're going to promote anything else that I do that's more polarizing, but they're not going to promote something like this that unifies us, because we're not on here cussing at each other, one another. We're not on here hating on one another. We're simply critiquing reparations in California and what it could be for the whole nation. Of course, we got some serious problems in the federal government with the other reparations bill that seems to be getting nowhere. And now I want to say this to you. I believe that bill is not getting anywhere because we don't have genuine leadership. The Do Nothing Black Caucus is not leading us to that promised land, because they're too busy talking about immigrants, migrants, and people of color. That's their political mantra right now, which has nothing to do with us. We got Angelica says the government has no idea that actually implementing true reparations would actually increase the GDP. You're absolutely right.
Tell the truth.
Let's see. Adam 411 says, yes, it's all of California. Okay, whoa, yes, yes. That's what it is. So everybody share this. Yeah, cut the check, Brother Jonathan. Cut the check. Yes, yes.
Tell the truth.
Cut the check and shame the devil. Everybody, thank you. I'm going to get ready to get on out of here and enjoy the rest of my evening. I want you all to enjoy the rest of your evening with your family. Tell someone that you love them if you have not told them that. And I'll see you all. What do we call this? What do we often call this, ladies and gentlemen? I will see you all on the on these what do we call this? These YouTube streets, right? Right? So I want you to enjoy your weekend, enjoy your favorite content creators, people out there who are going live tonight. Those of you who have other content creators that you enjoy listening to, go to the places that you like and enjoy the people that you enjoy listening to their content, and share this video. Tell people about this video, and so that this video can get the respect that it should get, because you know YouTube is not going to push this through the algorithms. It's going to push it a little bit, but it's going to suppress it just enough to make sure that the people that need to hear it don't all hear it. They're going to push all the other stuff, right? All the war of the sexes, they're going to push the Charleston White. They're going to promote crackheads that are on social media running their mouth, and sometimes they tell you things that are correct. Sometimes, just like a broken clock is right at least once or twice a day. They're going to promote that type of content, the ratchet and the unnecessary, right? It's just true. They're not going to promote this. So I want to say peace to you and to my critics out there. Information Man is going to continue to do what he's going to do, and you can't stop me. I'm going to interview who I want to interview. I'm going to critique issues that I choose to critique, and my channel's only going to get better. Peace to everybody out there that watches me on Roku TV. I'm doing it over here. The numbers, you know how YouTube is. They suppress the numbers as much as they can. We're going to keep doing what we're going to do over here, and I'm going to continue to be a content creator. And you YouTubers out there who hide behind your avatars and just talk a bunch of gibberish all day, you keep doing what you're going to do, because eventually YouTube's going to get rid of you, because you got these new rules coming down the pipeline with that legal case I was telling you about. Just keep doing what you're doing behind your avatars, and your lack of production value, your lack of analyzation skills, your ability to assess a situation, critique a situation, come up with a solution to a situation, and to provide content to people in a way that's professional, to the point, entertaining at the same time, but also educating. You just keep hating, and you keep staying back in the corners where you need to be, because the Information Man gonna do what he gotta do, and I ain't got time for the nonsense. So out there, everybody out there, peace. Thank you for being here again. And with that said, I've said my talk, I've said my speech, and cool, everybody. Let's get on out of here. Love you all. Peace. Peace. I appreciate all of you out there.
Okay, Picture a youngin' that used to live for the summer, skip meals to go run amongst all his peers. Now fast forward up a few years, that giddy little kitty growed up and all of a sudden had to pay bills. My current dichotomy grown from pure curiosity. Guess I didn't know that part of the deal, or know how quick it get real. Feeling so fleeting, me and myself need a bit clearer. Conversate in the mirror, watch your language when talking to me. I'm the one that's with you. Speak some life in itself, you should opt in the optimism. When options turn into prisons, getting offered the slimmest pickings. Remember this place we in is a thief for joy, get a steal. But no matter how much it take, I got more to give. I know that this world is all I'm giving.
Tell the truth.
And all of these thrills don't count for living. A little more will is all it takes. So I persevere, I'm not afraid. And right when it's falling off, not all is lost. It's giving me chills, I got a feeling. I gotta see stars and cars on with. Cause none of my dreams involve a ceiling. I seen the child raise a village. It come from privilege that made me conquer some limits. I've arisen from prisons, head on collision with visions I had back then, it was written. I've been walking in purpose. I've been coaching myself on life, telling me that it's worth it. There's some things I'm still gonna improve, and the timing is perfect. Still paranoid that I make it lose like some toxic been lurking into some.
Thank you, everybody. Y'all have been the best today. Thank you again.
Swear to God, I'm working like a doctor and surgeon, trying to piece together the pieces and heal up what hurted. My vice suffice till it don't, it shows. My passion might lead me out to where life is an open door. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more to keep me right. Oh, wish you the best if you ain't know this would be like. But I be so much the days we was rolling for pins and whites, and Lord, it done been some nights, but I'm growing inside this world and keep rolling. I know that this world is all I'm giving, and
tell the truth.
Don't count for living. A little more will is all it takes. So I persevere. I'm not
Information is power.
I got a feeling I gotta see stars and cars I'm whipping.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
You've been listening to the Information Man Show, the Information Man Experience.
Tell the truth.
Information is power. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power. Information is power. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.